Monaco, I love your energy. Y'all know. Crazy. But listen, I am super excited today. I am here to be honored with the top actors, casting directors, managers, talent agents, managers, casting directors, you name it, it is in the house today. So I'm babsalexander, your host, and I am here to bring to you Lady Consuela Benson. Lady Consuela is going to be, if you are a child and you have a mommy and daddy that is paying attention, I want you to quickly go get your parents and your guardian right now. Get them right now. And while you are doing that, what I want to do is make sure that they come, because this is the information you need. Y'all ask over and over and over again, and I want to make sure you have the information you need, because she's going to tell you. And I don't know where my moms are. And moms, if you're watching, then you need to hit me up and send me a text message or something. Let me know you're paying attention, because you're finally getting the information you need from all of these beautiful people. All right, Miss Consuela, please introduce yourself to the people and let them know what you do, who you are, what you've been doing, because you got a long laundry list, girl. Let's go. All right, Consuela, you're up.
Hi, Babs. Thanks for having me here today. And it's great to see all my friends, Marilee and Trisha. And I'm Consuela Benson. I'm actually from Canada. And I'm actually an actor since 2012. So, and I didn't start as an actor. I was actually still in the career out of travel and tourism industry for 30 somewhat years. But because I was a momager for a young child actor, started from theater and film, I decided that the balances of my career and having my child be on the theater stage in the evenings and rehearsals during days, and then film, it became a real chaotic situation for any mother, right? So what I feel like I've done is something great for a child, that I allowed him to have fun in what he was doing, and that he made his own choices that he felt comfortable with, even including choosing his own agent. So it was really a very, very eye-opening journey as a mother with someone who was a working child. So yeah, and I really encourage any mother that, let your kids have fun. And so now I became an actor because some of the casting directors said, I can use you on set if your child's on set as a real mom. So that's how my journey started.
That's a fun thing. So now tell us this. In order, when you first started getting your child out there in the industry, what is it that you started to do first that helped you to move your child's career along? Because this is pretty big, especially for a child that has a desire to want to be able to perform at such a young age. Can you tell us what you did to move their career along?
Well, basically what I decided to do, starting from dancing, just to see how they were with others socially, and the journey started from there. He was very social and got along with adults, and at that time I thought, well, if he wants to be on stage, then I'll know if he wants to be on stage. We weren't even thinking about being professionally on stage. So it was more the fun thing to do, especially for a boy. He was a boy. And so my journey I decided I'll put him in theater programs, summer camps, fun stuff, improv, whatever it is, just to get that skill set going. And then I started improving in the sense that there were ghost agents looking for child actors. And I would just get a call all of a sudden mysteriously to ask him to come in for auditions. So so my journey started with him going to summer camps for theater, children theater, and also Later on, going into dance because he loved dancing. So combination of like musical theater, etc. So the journey began on training, hard training for him. He's the one who wanted to do it. So it was he was actually asked to be a professional ballet company at 10 years old to start training, but he decided, no, mom, I would just love being on stage and theater. So that's how it all started. And I said, well, if you're going to continue this, let's even think about vocal coaching, and also training in basically different skill sets of not only different stages on theater, like as far as improv, but also learning how to write, write a little bit as to a story, making a story out of, out of what you do on a day-to-day basis. So, and then it ended up, he says, Mom, I want to try film at age 11. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like, okay, so I didn't know anything about the film industry. And I just researched. So the journey became, for me as a mom, to be able to put him in an industry that if it was safe for him. That was the main goal for me first. And then finding the right training tools for him, getting into conferences, events, to ensure that he can actually listen himself, not just me, that he was in there to listen to every talent agent, talent casting director. So I brought him into a big, huge conference event in a big city called Toronto. We went there, yeah. So it ended up to be a really good journey of understanding at age 11 and then he started working on film at age 12.
Wow. So the start was what, age 9?
He started actually in a Nutcracker with the Royal Winnipeg Ballet Company at age 7 and then age 8. Okay. And then age 9, he got cast for a musical theater, outdoor large theater here called Rainbow Stage. They do a lot of great Broadway musicals. So that's when he started in age 9 when he first got his first paycheck.
So what I really, based on what I'm listening and hearing from one person to the next, is I'm hearing training, building, confidence building. And as they start to make a quality selection of what they really want to do. I posed a question, and Trisha was moderating on Clubhouse the other day. And I said, if you had a young actor, what do you put them in first? Right? Because he was there. And and everybody had all these different things to say. And the one thing that really came out is if they start to try different things, then they will sort of start to figure out on their own what they want to do. That's why I created a nonprofit. I have a nonprofit arts organization called Arts in Connecticut. The mission of that nonprofit is to bring urban and suburban youth together on one platform so they can be able to create art. So we can make sure that the children start to explore all of the opportunities so they can know whether they want to perform or play or dance or whatever it is that they're going to do. So this is very good information, Consuela, very, very good information. So let me ask you this. So now he is 12 years old now, right?
He is currently 20.
What?
He's now 20.
He can write his own book.
Yeah.
So he's been in, oh man, he went from a child actor. Is he still performing?
Well, by the time he did his last big theater gig here at age 16, and he did decide at 15, he was kind of, I can notice there was a transition and that he was pulling away from the auditioning of films because all I kept getting was national auditions, casting, and a lot of lead roles and principal roles for him. So I guess he just fit that kind of a feature, but I think he was, when you can tell a child is a little bit exhausted in the sense of there's a lot of self-tapes and, just getting through it and school. We have to think about school, right? So, and fitting into the peer system. So basically, he decided at age 15, and he asked me, is it okay if I just think about what I'm doing, etc. And then he ended up picking up a camera in grade 10 or grade 10.
Mhm.
They had a film class, and then he decided, Mom, wow, I see everything in a whole different world behind the camera. And I think this is my calling, God's telling me. So he says, I want to be a filmmaker and a film director. So he started making and started at spoken words poetry, started writing his rants and everything else. And all of a sudden, I see him getting a camera and filming himself, making little short films. And at 15 and by 16, he was actually producing short films and writing them and directing them.
Now that's a passion that has transitioned into a whole career one way and another.
Yeah. But he'll never give up his actor union, because that takes hard work to get 3 credits, So he will continue. And that's sort of, he said, his backup plan, He'll always be an actor, he says.
Awesome. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in the next segment with Marilee and Trisha. I have a couple of questions that I have planned out for you. Oh, thank you so much. This was very intriguing and enlightening, and I know that there are a lot of parents that would really benefit from the information that you have given. And now, if we, I know that we have Beginner to Broadway that's coming up soon. I don't know if you all know that we have a 12-week program to help parents with their children with that step-by-step guide, so they can help them and give them all of the nuggets and tools that they need so they can launch those careers and get them out. And but we definitely might need to be bringing you all back in, and Consuela, you talking to these parents so they can be right there in the room with you. I know they may be listening on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, but you all, if you are watching on one of those streams, feel free to come in. You can, if you don't see the links, you can easily go over to Protools4Acting.com and click the link and come on in from there, because the information is there for you. Now, we have some other people that's going to be doing. First of all, let's give. I need to have me one of those things that I hear what y'all doing on Clubhouse. Let's give Miss Consuela a hand. Love that. Now, Miss Consuela, do you have any final words to the parents that have children that are getting in here? What things do you need to say to them that they need to really hear so they can be able to get over to Marilee and Trisha and Rita? Okay, tell us what they need to hear, please.
Well, I really believe in that children should have their own creativity. Let them become themselves, because when it comes down to it, you can do as much training as you can, and training is so important, but ultimately it's up to the child how he's going to be taking on roles, because children haven't experienced emotions of different roles that they may be in, such as a parent dying on set, and someone having a crazy situation. So make sure that the child has an overview of who they are, and make sure that they are having fun, and the journey is not only with you to become part of their journey, but also be able to share those successes and share the failures together, because it's not even failing, it's actually experiencing the next level of their career or their training or of themselves, because they've overcome even just getting on that audition room and getting through that self-tape. And that's what we have to always be championing the children for moving forward in their career.
Awesome. And that's what I said. There are really no failures. These are just challenges. I think challenges come to make us stronger. So thank you so much. And most importantly, that they have fun doing it, because if they're not having fun, then no one's going to be, they'll sit there cry the whole time, unless it's in the script, we might want to rethink those things. And thank you so much, Ms. Consuela. I appreciate you taking the time to come and just share with us and empower our parents as they launch the career of many, many youth that are out here trying to make a difference. Thank you again. All right. Now, do we have any questions for Ms. Consuela? And if you are on Facebook, please, Merck, take a look out there. If they're on Facebook and they have questions, can you read off the questions that they have so we can be able to help them as they are coming in?
I have a question.
Yes.
I just want to know the process of getting into the ACTRA union, because I want to see how different it is for SAG in the States and ACTRA in Canada, and like how much does it cost? Like real talk, because I'll talk about how much SAG AFTRA costs.
Of course, Marilee, yes. Of course, 3 credits to be able to be invited into full ACTRA member. Of course, you can be apprentice once you have 1 credit, 2 credit, and then it continues, right? Once you become initiated and invited to become a full ACTRA union, of course, all the benefits are there. You can go buy into the fraternity, and it's phenomenal. The insurance, everything, your kid now has their own personal benefits at a very young age, right? And what's nice is that the initiation fee is not that much. So you have a one-time initiation fee. Once you become full ACTRA member, I paid about $1,200 for the initiation fee, and then it's really not. It's very nominal for yearly fees, which is less than 200. It's like 100 and between 125 to 175, depending. Yeah. So to me, it's worthwhile because 1 gig for a ACTRA union, it pays off, and that's it's excellent work for them. So
now, do you mind going all the way back, because they don't know what AFTRA is? Marilee does, because she's in the industry. But for these new parents, what is AFTRA? What is that? So can you break that all the way down so they can understand it, please?
Oh, sure. In Canada, they call it ACTRA, ACTRA. So it's a union for actors, film actors, not theater actors. And it actually provides you with the really great, when you're on set, the accommodations for you is phenomenal, because you can work maybe 3 hours on set, paid for the full 8 hours. So there's a lot of benefits to becoming an ACTRA union. Of course, for those who are starting, I would not suggest to become ACTRA union right away and actually get your hone in your skills and do non-union gigs, because there's a lot of commercials that are non-union and films that are non-union, independent films that you can create your own reel from when you become cast on those films. So you create your resume, your portfolio. And at the end of it, when you feel like it's time, and if you're invited to, and you've done your 1 credit of speaking role on set, speaking role on a commercial, union commercial, then it's up to you to become an apprentice in the beginning and pay the fee annually. And then you'll still be protected under the union rules or regulation. So there's a lot of benefits towards it, but I wouldn't rush into it. And that's what I would suggest, because that's how I started learning about, when we did the training. I was training to see what was the benefits for everything as far as non-union and union. And it's given me such tools as getting into set for just really a lot of projects that independent filmmakers do. And it's really a beautiful experience, because you get to know a lot of people in the community of filmmakers. So I would suggest for children, try that in the beginning. And then once you, maybe about a couple of years down the road, if you want to become a union actor right away. So
that's amazing. Amazing. And the one thing that a lot of, when people first come in and they start these auditions, they're considered non-union. So non-union, can you explain to them what is non-union? And this way they'll know, because when someone comes in and they say, oh, are you union? You know, I didn't understand. Again, I wasn't even a child coming in. I was an adult coming in. And I was like, I don't know. What does that mean? Because I didn't know. So can you explain that to us?
for non-unions, basically you have to also be careful with non-union casting and breakdown actors access, or in Canada we use casting workbook, and actually Americans go register to that. So there's a lot of films that are posted in breakdown saying that's non-union or union. So as a non-union, you can still apply for union films and commercials. For union members, the difference is that you cannot apply for non-union films or commercials. So that's a huge difference. So it's not that it's limiting you, it's that once when you do a non-union film, then it's a little bit, the difference is that you may not be as protected being on set, especially for a child. The law is you're supposed to be working only like minimum 8 hours, certain age, and then up to 16. It's like, here it's up to 16, and then they can work you like a dog, right? So the protections of how long you're going to be on set, and sometimes, pay scale for non-unions is not as good, but I look at it as experience. So just, when it comes to breakdowns, take a look at the breakdowns, what the roles are, who the company is and everything. And actually, you can actually ask casting director or the producers or whatever questions you want, because a lot of them are pretty open to questions if you have something, especially the safety of your child.
Okay, that's awesome. So now, just to try to dive in one last time of what I was saying, you have given us a lot of information on understanding the difference between the two. But I think that the one piece that I was trying to get to was, when a person comes in and they're auditioning, they have to be classified as something, right? And I think that's where that non-union is coming from, because they're yet not understanding the industry, and they yet have not registered into something. So then they're classified as non-union. Am I right or no?
Yes. But the thing is, you're coming into an audition already knowing if you're going as a non-union or not, and the casting directors will know if you are non-union or not coming in for a role or an audition. So you've already been classified when you actually submit to your role. So yes, it just depends on the pay scale and everything else. What you protect, how you're if you do get the role as a non-union actor going to a union, and then a union because unions can't go into non-union. So that's the difference, is that you may have lower pay scale, which you will, okay, as a non-union actor. So it's sometimes it's half of the pay scale, and then and as far as what the benefits are, again, as I said, the length of but you're definitely classified because you've already identified yourself as a non-union actor, because they will ask if you're a union or not before you even submit.
That is so true. All right. Thank you. And thank you so much, Ms. Casuela. And thank you for all your information. You are a lady of wealth of knowledge, and we appreciate it because it takes us a long way, because what you already know is what people are struggling to try to find out, and we appreciate that, and thank you again. Okay, now ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Now, does anyone else have any other questions for Ms. Consuelo? Okay. All right. Well, without further ado, thank you again, Ms. Consuela. And this will conclude our second round. Let's give her a big hand. Yay. Thank you.
I do have a question for Consuelo. This is Kareem.
Sure.
I don't know if she mentioned or not, but Consuelo, are you single or what's up?
Funny. He always does this on Clubhouse to everyone.
Wait,
Kareem, you're hilarious.
we have to know, Consuelo. We have to know.
That's funny. I am married.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Then that's the end of my questions. No more questions from me. Yep. Thank you.
He's the best. All right. So we're gonna did you stop recording? Okay. I'm going to quickly check to see what's going on here. Oh, give me a minute.
Where's everybody from? I'm curious. I know so many of you already, but for everyone I don't already know.
I'm in LA.
Hey, what part? Downtown?
Yes, I'm like 3 miles from downtown.
That's the dream. If I ever move to LA, I want to be downtown.
Oh, is downtown like as busy as New York City's downtown, right?
Yeah. I don't even like going downtown because like the traffic, and there's roads that are just one way for no reason at all. I'm like, I don't know where to go. I can't make a right. I have to go there, but I can't go that way. I don't like it. I hate one ways on like downtown LA.
I can only
Unless Kareem is a driving. When I was driving, you didn't mind it, really.
Unless you have Kareem, who is in LA, drive for you.
That's
Right.
right.
He's a good driver.
I have several homes, but Beverly Hills and in San Diego. And I have been in a traffic jam at 3 a.m. in downtown LA before. It's so crazy. And
What?
I can't even tell you what was going on, if they were filming, if somebody was just doing something they shouldn't. And I was sitting there for an hour and a half, and I was just, I'm so tired. I just want to go to bed. And that's why when I have, meetings, anything, I give myself at least an hour in advance, just in case, and then if you're in LA at peak times, forget about it. Get there a day before. If you don't live there, get a hotel room.
Totally.
But it's the nature of the biz. So, you just get used to it, but it can be really crazy for no reason.
And
Oh,
also
wow.
the Dodger Stadium, the traffic on Dodger Stadium. Oh my God. That's where I live, on Echo Park. So we're like a mile from the Dodger Stadium. And when there's a game, forget it. Like, don't even leave. Just walk wherever you're going.
So what I'm hearing is don't move to LA from New York. Got it.
It's not downtown LA. Downtown
So
LA.
There's great cities, you can go to Studio City, Culver. I mean, it just depends where you want to go. I wouldn't go, West Hollywood is fine. There's certain parts. Don't go to Skid Row. Don't go. I mean,
No.
but the way downtown LA is, you could literally, I love what Marilee said, you could have to, just to go where you're at, you have to go completely around. It's like all right turns or something. And then you have to get back to it. But there's just like even past the garment district and things, I'm a little leery of going. And it's just for safety is all. Like go with friends, go, you know, there's always strength in numbers, but it's a vibrant town. It's metropolitan. There's so many good eateries. There's so many things that are fun. You can hang out and do. You can go to the mountains to ski. You can go to the water. I mean, so I love the beat of it, but I go back and forth. So for me, like I live in San Diego as well. I'm on the water, so I'm spoiled basically. However, I just, you know, every town has its things. And so I encourage you, come on out, because you'd have a family, you'll have friends and people to connect with. So I encourage you, you know, to do that.
How come we never met you, Tracy and Ed?
Go ahead, Kareem.
Sorry, I was just saying, how come we never met Tricia yet? We live in LA and we never met you. How is that possible?
It's very possible because I commute back and forth all the time. And so I'll spend a certain amount in Beverly Hills, and then I'll spend a certain amount in San Diego. So I commute a lot, and I have my family here, you know, and things. So, and Kareem, I am single. So just to already answer that question.
Thank you. And that makes Kareem happy in general. So thank you for sharing
Me
that.
too, Kareem.
And,
Not like
good. That's all good information. And next time we have the Clubhouse gathering, we'll invite all of you guys for whoever can make it.
That's
so
great.
Yes.
Totally.
Tricia, my sister actually used to live in Venice Beach, and I've been to LA a bunch of times, but only to like NoHo and West Hollywood. I didn't really get to explore downtown that much. So I definitely love going there and visiting. I still need to see Santa Monica because that's where I want to go. And my friend, she lives in Orange County. But yeah, that thing you said about skiing, I was like, there's snow, there's mountains, like what?
Yeah, it's fun and it's central. And, you know, like if you go to Venice, there's the canal that's there. I mean, there's just a lot of fun things to do. And Santa Monica is a great place to live. Just, you know, save up if you don't already have it. And I just suggest like have a year of funding, you know, for where you're going to live, what you're going to eat, what you're going to do. So then the jobs will start coming in, and do everything you can. If right now maybe acting isn't exactly where you want it to be, who cares? I'll flip burgers. I mean, not that I've ever flipped burgers, and I think that's still honorable career, but I do everything I can to just keep in this business. So I think a lot of times we think, oh, if we're not booking as an actor, we're less than, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Is just take all the skills you have, use them, and you know, it comes when it comes. And I have a lot of faith. And I think I just don't know any better. So that's why I do what I do.
Now, you all know that y'all should be saying this on the camera. Y'all gonna go give all the good stuff when the camera's off. That's not fair. Oh my goodness, that was really good. That was a good nugget right there. You gonna remember to say it again? No. Okay. Thank y'all. You guys are amazing. I'm like, I think like 30 people signed up, and I'm like, where are these people? Are they not here? Okay, so wait a minute. Do me a favor, and who is Sam? Did Sam get kicked off? You cut Sam off? I need wait a minute, who's up next? It just threw me right off. I'm sorry. Who's up next? Mer, where are you?
Is it me?
I think it's Rita. I can play the recording.
You're gonna play the recording?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here we are, guys. So we're doing Rita is up next, and then hi guys.
Hi. Yes, from Japan.
We're gonna do the next segment.
Yes,
This is so cool. You got them.
My name is yeah. Accent is so very good. So Japan is very hot. So even so the look like the summer, the very hottest. Yes, you know. And oh yeah, it's my introduce. And my name is Motokatsu Suzuki from Japan. Yeah. And Tricia, so the one time so talking about the clubhouse. Do you remember? Yeah, it's okay. Yes, and Kyoji is my friend. So the friend is the Tricia is very good. So I'm a samurai actor, you know. The samurai is so the look. This is so sword action. Yes, and the archery and the horseback riding archery. It is very well. So I just took the part in the silence, the outsider. Yes. So I'm going to the Hollywood. Yes, but I don't have visa, and I'm looking for agent and deal memo. And but in Japan, so I just take the part in the 100 project. Yes, a little bit good. So the make credit. Yes.
So now, so you're let me just see, hold on a minute. Are you there? All right, so
yeah, I can see.
You're looking for so here's what we're going to do. When we get a chance to start talking with the talent agents and the casting directors, you can pose your question right at that time if you don't mind, and then we are going to you can ask whatever the question is, and once you ask that question, they'll give them an opportunity to answer. So because you're looking for representation in Japan, is that what I was getting the understanding of?
Oh, of course, but and I am the pro and negotiated to so my lawyer in Los Angeles, and so but next year or that 2 years ago, so several times talking about it, but now the coronavirus, and they said and I take I make so deal memo for 3 years that I can't get deal memo, that I want one materials, so deal memo is only make sense, you know.
I'm trying to understand it a little bit. Does anybody understand it a little bit?
I think he was speaking because of the coronavirus. There was a little bit of an issue and talking about the deal memo. He just recently, and he can't seem to get that approved or anything like that. So I don't know what deal memo. What deal memo do you have?
You have to get a deal memo from producers, because agents and even casting directors, we can't promise a job, because what we do is just
Sure.
So definitely get in touch with the producers. They're the only ones that can give you a deal memo, because they're the ones that sign the contract to get you to work. Agents can only represent you, and managers, but we can't give them deal memos.
What is a deal memo?
It's like a contract that says we're going to give him work once he comes here from a different country. But, agents don't promise that. We can just send you to auditions, but you have to land the job. We don't promise jobs. So if a producer hires him, the producer can give the deal memo saying, yeah, he's working. I have a deal memo for him. He's for 3 years. He's going to work so he can get a visa, the O1 visa.
Okay, so just like people always say, can I get something like a green card or something to come and work in the US? That's your talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this is a short.
That's new for me. I didn't know that, guys. I'm learning from you, Matakasu.
And call me Mother for short. Mother.
Okay, Moto.
Yeah.
My My best friend is named Motoko.
Yes. So the look like a Mexican is mother.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna, without further ado, we're gonna go into Rita's video where I had an interview with her yesterday. So thank you so much. We're gonna mute our mics and listen to Miss Rita. I think actually I'm gonna ask you guys to cut off your cameras, and then that way I think it gets a little bit bigger on the screen for those that are watching online. All right. Thank you. Take it away. Hi, this is Babs Alexander, your international vocal and career coach. I am so excited. We are kicking it off today with Pro Tools for Actors. Can anyone else hear anything? Because I can't hear anything here.
We can hear it.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear it.
Oh, that's because I'm on the same line.
Today we are so excited. We will be having Miss Rita Powers from Rita Powers Casting Group. I am excited because Miss Rita has taken some time out to talk to us. Boy, she got a lot to tell you guys. Are you sure you're ready for this? Listen, I want you to get out your pens and your papers, get your information. Remember I told you, I've been talking to you guys and prepping you up a little bit. I want you to learn from the pro. She's going to give you some tools, some techniques and know-how, and she's going to give you information that's relevant so you launch your careers and win your audition. Frozen on my end. Is it frozen anywhere else?
Yep, it's frozen.
Yeah, it froze.
Oh.
I started in this business in 1987. I got a call from my sister who was working for a small management company for children. And at the time I was a waitress and bartender, and that was in the 80s, and I made a lot of money doing that. And my sister says, "Hey, you want my job?" And I'm like, "How much do you make?" And she said, $7 an hour. And I said, "No, I cannot make $7 an hour." But she insisted because she said I was going to love it. And when I got there, in the first day, I loved it. I knew that this is where I belonged in this industry. Awesome. I never wanted to be an actress. I love being behind the scenes. But within the first week, I realized that the casting director was the one that everybody jumped for, was the one with all the power. And my name became Powers in the end. But I wanted the power, to be honest with you. And I worked very, very hard to get here. I opened a business on my own 3 times that failed. The 3rd time was the charm. I was a SAG agent. My company, I was licensed and bonded through the union. But then I decided that I didn't want the union as my partner. So I became a manager in the National Conference of Personal Managers. And I was in it for 22 years. And while I was in it, I spoke at the forums in Las Vegas about the powerful woman in entertainment. I never thought, like, I always wanted to be one of the powerful women in entertainment, and people say that I am, but I never think of myself that way. The way I think of myself is I help people make their dreams come true. And that's what it's really about for me. I do make money, but sometimes I spend it stupidly because it's not about money. It's about making people's dreams come true. People that are doctors can do bloody things. So I do it a different way and change people's lives. It's the way I see it.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Wonderful. I'm trying to tell you, we're in the same industry, giving back.
Giving back,
excited because people have so many dreams and you know, just listening to you, and it resonated with me because, you know, I'm telling you, B Enterprises is, you know, I'm going around speaking to people all over the nation about them fulfilling their dreams. Even as children. I don't know why children think that they have to be adults in order for them to launch their careers and fulfill their dreams and start getting themselves together. So, I mean, that sounds so amazing. And you see, so you immediately found your passion once you even got over there with your sister, so you can even understand how the industry works. Can you explain to them what is a casting director?
Well, I'm going to start from the beginning because I'll tell you the difference between an agent, a manager, and then what I do. Okay, so when I was an agent, I could only work on union jobs. Screen Actors Guild, SAG-AFTRA. I could only work on union jobs, right? Because the union tells you that. I would get talent work in commercials, mostly TV shows, voiceovers. And then I switched to being a manager, and I could work on both union and non-union, because what I did realize was not just because you're not in any of the unions doesn't mean you have less talent. Just because you're not in the union yet doesn't mean you're not talented. There are so many people who are not in the union who are multi-talented, and I wanted to give them a chance. So I started being a manager, and I could work on both union and non-union and not have the Screen Actors Guild as my partner, because I don't like partners. I like to run my own show. So a manager can work in all areas and can negotiate your deals and can guide your career. That's the difference. An agent doesn't guide your career. But a casting director doesn't work for the talent. A casting director works. So in my other two jobs, I worked for the talent, basically. They had to pay me a commission. I wasn't guaranteed getting paid. So as a business person, who wouldn't want to be guaranteed getting paid, especially in this business? So I started casting about 20 years ago, and my first film was a #1 in the world film, and it was called Kalho Naho. It was a Bollywood film starring Shah Rukh Khan. And I didn't even know who Shah Rukh was at the time, but of course I did now, because I've made 50 films in India, at least. So I don't make just Hollywood, I make Bollywood. I've made tons of foreign films, tons of foreign commercials. The government of India even hired me. So the difference is I work for the producers to get them the talent they need for their project. That's what a casting director does. I find them the talent for the roles in their project, whatever it may be. Now I've worked for Major League Baseball. I work for all the time. They're one of my big clients. I've worked for the NBA. I've worked for all the Housewife franchise because I get the stand-ins for their reunions. I worked for HBO. I just did a Comedy Central TV series. But I like being a casting director more than being an agent or a manager because A, business-wise, it's better for me. I have more control. And B, I can affect more people.
Absolutely. That is essential. Affecting more people and trying to ensure that everyone you can help both sides of the fence and be able to give them what they're looking for. You know, connecting the dots together. Now, let me ask you this. For both, and I'm talking to both aspiring actors, ages 18 and up that's starting into their careers as a young actor or a child actor. What would you say to them in order for them to get themselves prepared and ready for this industry? What would you say?
The first thing is you need to have. Okay, so what I'm going to say is it's a little different with kids because kids just have it naturally. Sometimes you don't even have to train them, and I've seen it. I mean, Lindsay Lohan walked into my office, and I would have repped her when I was a kid manager, except for her mother, that was a nightmare. Bethany Frankel walked into my office way before she was on the Housewives of New York and wanted me to wreck her, and she was a train wreck, and I'm like, oh, but reality is perfect for her. So some people just have it natural. You don't even need training. But what I can say is casting directors are a little tough sometimes when it comes to training. They're going to look at your training.
Mhm.
Or if you have a fabulous reel. If you have a fabulous reel showing a body of your work that's killer, maybe they could overlook that you don't have training. Kids are a little different because you don't, once you're an adult and maybe you've gone, you would look for the training. Kids, it's not so much. You don't look at it that way. Kids just have raw natural talent, in my opinion. I mean, the other day I was doing marketing for my husband's company and I was in his restaurant and this guy comes in and I film him and he was amazing. Like he never had a day's training in his life and he was on. If you look at my social media, Rita Powers, Facebook, TikTok, you'll see this guy's name is Chris. He never did it a day in his life, but he killed it. And he said to me when he was done that that was his dream to be an actor. And I said, oh my gosh, I love hearing that. Now I have to help you.
Oh, how amazing. How amazing. That is so exciting, especially when people have that natural raw talent. They don't have to work so hard to be an actor because it's like it's already innate within them. And they can just, all they're doing is just showing the world something. Huh?
They were just born with it.
Absolutely. I think that's how YouTube blew up so quickly. Is because people started using their natural talents and it went bananas during the pandemic, and it gave for the first time, it gave everybody that opportunity, managers, the agents, director, it gave everybody an opportunity to say, hey, let me see this person. So talk to us, Ms. Rita, about what is a digital reel and how can they do this and how would they get this digital reel to you so they'll get a chance to say,
okay. So here's what I'm going to say. The best way to get a reel together is to work and use snippets from your work to put on your reel. But not everybody has worked and not everybody has the opportunity. But a big way to do it, and this is what I've told my talent when I used to manage and when I was an agent, do student films. They don't pay, but a lot of them are really good. And it's going to show you, it's going to showcase you. So you take lead roles in student films because you need the reel. You need the product to show somebody that you have the chops.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, if you're going to manufacture doing a scene for your reel, it better be damn good. That's all I'm going to say. Because you want to go with something that's authentic, but if you're going to manufacture it, which some people do, and you can tell, oh, I'm so sorry, and you can tell that it's manufactured, you don't want that. You want it to look like it's real, like you booked this gig.
Oh, very, very good. I wish when I first started my career and came into and start, how you're a little kid, you say, I just want to be on Broadway. I just want to be on Broadway. So as soon as I got of age and had a chance, I was like, okay, how do I get there? And I was like, okay, my mom really don't have the money. The first thing I did was use my gifts and my talents to get get the education so I can get a scholarship to go to college. I just kept going around till I got where I wanted to be. Then we got there. And so therefore, when we got here, we kept getting all of these auditions. And the one thing is good about NYU, Tish, boy, they forever have something out there for you to be able to audition. And
Columbia as well, because I don't usually cast student films, but I cast 2 NYU films, which came out amazing. Because big directors referred me. But you know what? And that's what I'm going to say. And this is something that actors should hear right now. You're never too good for anything. You're never too good for anything. Awesome. You know what? If you're not the lead role, you got to take whatever you can to be out there. Because listen, and this is a lesson that I learned personally, and this is why I'm going to say it. I got a call from this kid in a student film. And I thought I was too good to do a student film. Okay? So then the kid says, I say, how'd you find out about me? And he's like, Ryan Fleck referred me to you. So Ryan Fleck is a huge director. Anna Bowden, Ryan Fleck, they made huge movies. I worked with them. I'm like, the kid was doing an NYU radio show and interviewed Ryan Fleck and he referred me. So I had to take it. But I thought I was too good for it. I took very little money because it wasn't about that for me. and I helped this kid. And as I went into the NYU casting studios, which are amazing, by the way.
Yes.
Another kid who was casting, who was doing his thesis film. Okay. A month later, I get a call from this other kid, and I cast a feature film because I met this kid at the NYU casting room, because I took the student film. So don't ever think that you're better than something. Even if you get a role for an extra, if you're not doing anything that day, get your ass to the set, because you're going to meet somebody. You could meet somebody there that's going to put you on to your next gig.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was so excited. You're just so on point every time I'm listening to you, because I reflect with so much of what you're saying as, you know, as a actor and had to go through all of these different things. And I just think it's so amazing, because I really believe that everyone needs to hear how important it is for you to get yourself out there and start
Right.
acting.
And if you're sitting on a set and you're just an extra, listen, I'm going to tell you this because I've seen it and I've done it, and I'm the casting director. I put extras on the set many a time with big directors, and they pulled him out of a crowd and gave him the speaking role. So you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen once you get there. So you should always, if this is what you love and you can afford to do this full time, be out there every day doing something in the entertainment field. If you can't, you have a regular job, pick and choose, but keep yourself out there, because I'd be nowhere if I didn't keep myself out there.
Awesome, Miss Rita. Awesome, awesome. I truly believe that. I think they need to be. Now,
I'm just going to say one more thing. There's a big, you got to be nice. I'm not phony acting nice, like really nice, like nice and respectful. Because I could tell you sometimes people have been so damn rude to me, or so damn rude to my assistant, not knowing it was going to come back to me.
Right.
If you're going to be rude to my assistant, you're going to be rude to my client on the set. You're not getting past me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because it's
And
my
they
reputation.
be nice to everybody. They
Be
need
nice to everybody, not just who you think's going to get you somewhere, because you don't know where that person is that's down here, where they're going to be in 2 years or 10 years in this business.
Absolutely.
Be nice to everyone.
Absolutely. Because, you know, I'm telling you, I was so honored that you guys answered. I was like, yes, they answered, and they're doing this. Listen, people.
So what, Babs?
Is a
I
treat.
love you and your energy, man.
Oh, thank you.
You are amazing.
Well, I hope to work with you one day. You never know.
Listen, I hope to work with you one day too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you so much, Ms. Rita. Now, Ms. Rita, what final words or thoughts that you would have to them?
Okay, I do have some final words and thoughts. And here's the thing that I'm going to say. Once you do get that audition, right? Own it. Go in there with nothing but confidence. If you don't have confidence, then don't do the audition, because I'm going to tell you, when I used to audition people in person, which I haven't since COVID, everything's virtual, but I could tell when they walked in the room if they were going to get a call back by the confidence of them walking in the room. And I was dead on right every time, because without confidence in this business, I would be nowhere. Without the confidence knowing that I was going to make it to where I wanted to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wrote a book.
And if you don't have content, create your own content.
Yes!
Nobody's coming running to you, hon. Just like you did, Babs. You created your own content.
Sure
if
did.
you don't have content, create your own content, because somebody's got to do it.
Yes. Listen, I put that in the book. I made it, it's called The How-To Guide for Aspiring Actors. And one
Right. If you don't have content, you better make your own, because nobody's done knocking down your door.
Absolutely. But one of their things was to do your homework. Go sit inside an audition room so you can build the confidence.
Listen, you know what they got to do? They got to be an intern for a casting director and an agent, because you got to wow. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. One of my top actresses who made, I can't even tell you, over 6 figures when I was a manager, was my intern. And then she became my assistant. And we're talking 25 years ago, which I still talk to her today. She just had a baby recently. But she'll always say to me, the best thing I ever did for my career was work with you.
Aww.
Because she knew what to do. She knew, you know what I mean? having something on the other end of it, because you're an actor doesn't mean you shouldn't know all areas.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I used to have an office in Tribeca, and my neighbor was Billy Hopkins, Kerry Barton, and Suzanne Smith Crowley, right?
Oh, really? Yeah.
They're the bomb. They're my friends till this day. But what I'm going to tell you is their intern was Monique Kernan. She turned out to be a B-list celebrity. She was their intern. Smart girl.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, so Miss Rita, how can people get in touch with you after they got
I always answer my own emails. It might take me a little bit, but I answer them. The best way, don't send me anything by USPS, because unless it's a check, I'm not opening it. Email me. Powers791@gmail.
Absolutely, absolutely. You heard it here, folks, right here on Pro Tools for Actors. Ms. Rita, thank you so much for taking time to work with us and talk to us and educate us and empower us so we can get our acting in gear and get our butts in gear and start. Make sure you go out and make sure you check out those, you said NYU, Tisch, and Columbia. If you're on the East Coast, if you're on the West Coast.
Also the New York Film Academy, which I work very closely with, they do a lot of student films, which is one of the #1 schools in the world, New York Film Academy.
So you hear, let me ask you one last question and then we're going to get off this call. And my last question to you is, do you feel like, I'm from Gary, Indiana? So when I was in Gary, I was in everything they had, auditions, you name it, from where we were. But yet I heard other casting directors say, if you don't have a well-known school on your resume, they're not going to even pay attention to you.
Some casting directors are just snobby, but that's not true in my case. I look for somebody that stands out, that fits the character. I feel their energy through their photo. I don't always just look at the resume, because that's not going to get me anywhere. And a lot of casting directors would only call people when looking for managers. When I do my castings, I call at least 20% on their own. And you want to know something? Most of the time, the people I call in without an agent or a manager get the job.
Aha. See, you never know what you're going to do.
You never know. That's why I always do it. That's why I always do it, because I find that little gem.
Absolutely. So now, folks, make sure you get in touch with Ms. Rita Powers. She has opened the door. She's giving you the opportunity. She told you to own it. She told you to have confidence. Make sure you bring it. Thank you so much, Ms. Rita. This is amazing. I cannot wait for the questions to come in. Make sure we're going to check back and get the information back to you if anyone has any more questions. And we are doing a 12-week course, which is beginner to Broadway and beyond, how to launch your career and win your audition. They're going to give the step-by-step guide so they can get into them offices. So if you want more of this, guys, stay tuned, because I'm telling you, they're in the house. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
That was amazing. That Miss Rita was on fire. Are you guys there? Did you not enjoy her interview?
Wow. Oh, man.
She had me so excited. I was ready to jump out of that car.
Oh, my goodness. Amazing.
That lady was like, I was like, hi, Miss Rita. She was like, whoa. I was like, no, I'm feeding off of you. You know, I'm already hyper. So it did not.
I want her in my cup of tea and coffee.
Me too.
Yes.
That's right.
I was like, oh my goodness. She's like, I mean, just sit outside. I was like, yeah, everybody ain't able. You got palm trees now. It was amazing. And you know, one thing about it, if anyone have any questions, or because I told her that we was going to send the questions back to her just in case she had some questions for her. This way you guys won't get a chance to, and she gave you her email address. And now we have it. So if you need it, we could put it back in there, and that way you can be able to get it. Okay. So
Yeah.
if
If you could put it in the chat, Babs, that would be fantastic.
that, Mer, can you stick her email address in the chat for us, please? And this way you'll have it. Because that was just, it was exciting. I was like, whoa. I was writing and said, yes. It was so funny. Too funny. I mean, it was just so many things, and authenticity is everything, which is why, you know, in the segue into talking to Mira Lee and Trisha, because one of the questions, oh well, wait a minute, we got to cut one segment to get to the next. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mer. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. That was part 3 of Pro Tools for Acting with Rita Powers, the powerhouse, the Rita Powers group. So make sure you hit her up and check out her Instagram. All right, Mer. Mer, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Did you stop the recording, Mer? Okay. All right, guys, it's about 2:42 in the morning, Mer's time. She is in the Philippines.
Oh.
So she is trying to hang in here with us.
Love
This
you,
is
Mer.
going to
Thank you,
sleep.
sweetie. My gosh.
Where is she?
In the Philippines. Talk to him, Mer.
Nice to meet you guys. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, you know.
Oh, really?
Mer, are you anywhere near Cebu? I have a friend who's a filmmaker, and I don't know if that's close to you, but I talk to him a lot. So
Cebu is really far away from me. I had to ride an airplane to get there.
Oh wow. Well, thank you so much for everything this morning for you. Yeah.
Thank you as well. Thank you.
Babs, are you going to talk about your amazing book coming up? You're
Did
about
you see
to.
the
I think you're about to.
Yeah. The book is it's a toolkit to give.
Are you going to mention it in the next segment? Well, when we're on Wells recording?
I guess so. Thank you, Lisa. It is not my turn. It is their turn.
Okay.
I'll talk to them people at another time.
Okay.
But no, Mer has been with me. Thanks, Lisa. Mer has been with me for quite about 6 or 7 months now. She keeps us growing. She is your point of contact and communication. So everything that you heard coming through, I was like, Mer, did you tell them it was your name? She's like, oh no. She's very shy. All right, thank you. Okay, we're ready to roll, Mer. We're gonna push through and so we can get you to bed. Hi guys, it's babsalexander, your international vocal coach. All right, and career coach. Listen, we're having a blast. I am so excited to be with industry today with we still have Mira Lee, Victoria, Trisha, Consuelo. Well, we might as well go on and name them all. We got Moto, and then we got Dania. Dania, you never introduced yourself. You jumped on camera and didn't talk to us a little bit. Next, at the end, Dania, I'm gonna be looking for you, okay? And Miss Lorene, I saw you on my page over there, but you got to talk to the people. You're real quiet. All right, and Dr. Lisa is one of the international opera singers here. She's been real quiet and supportive, but she hasn't told you she may not be in acting, but she surely is in the back door of listening and singing. You got to hear her. She is amazing. She sings with the Philharmonic, so she is amazing. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I believe our next person up, is it Mira Lee or is it Victoria? Which one?
It's Mira Lee because I have the last slot.
You have the last time. Okay. It will be Miralee Menzies.
Hi,
All
everyone.
right. Our kids talent agent. All right. So please, Miralee, please explain to the people who you are, what you do, how you do what you do, and how can they get in touch with you? And what are you looking for when you're looking for their little ones? This is something they come to me over and over and over again, asking the same questions. This is why I'm going to be plugging on you two ladies. Just give them their answers, please.
Okay, that's a lot. You asked a lot of questions and now I don't remember everything.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. My name is Miralee. I'm a talent agent based in Los Angeles. In California, you cannot practice being a talent agent without being licensed. So I am a licensed and bonded talent agent. You have to remember that if you're not in California, out of the 50 states, there's only 7 that requires a state level licensure for talent agents. So you have to be careful when you have an agent and you're not in those 7 states, because anyone can just say, I'm a talent agent, and then, practice improper practices of being an agent, like asking you for money, which is illegal, or asking you for more than 10 or 20%, which is illegal as well. Those are the things you have to be careful about when having an agent or an interview with an agent. What we do is basically we represent actors and present them to casting directors or producers to get to book a job, a role. And so it's kind of like, let me explain it. It's kind of like a filtering thing, because say a producer has a project. A producer wants to make a commercial or a TV show or a movie. They hire a director to bring their vision to life. And usually the director or the producer will bring a casting director on board. And then they give the producer and director will give the casting director the breakdowns of all the characters that they need actors for. Mm-hmm. And the description, what age, what gender, where did they live? Are they rich, poor, like whatever, working class, all the roles broken down into who they're looking for. And then the casting director, it's up to them to bring those actors to the producers and directors, right? So if a casting director is looking for the talent, imagine being a casting director and you're trying to fill some roles. You know how many actors, thousands will come rushing to you, right? Mm-hmm. People with training, without training, people from all over the world that want to come to Hollywood. So basically have an agent is kind of like a filter, because we filter the actors for the casting directors who are filtering it for the directors and the producers. Okay. So when you're an actor and you're represented, you're kind of filtered out from the actors that are not represented by an agent. So that's why a represented actor will always be more I want to say bankable or bookable to the eyes of a casting director. But kind of like what Rita said, if she finds an actor who is amazing, just a great actor, even though they're not represented, she can definitely, push them further for the casting, for the producer session, because the casting director is not gonna give you the job. They're just filtering, and then it's eventually it's still gonna be the producer or the director who's gonna pick. So we're like 2 layers of filtering. So what I'm looking for in an actor is someone who well, for kids, it has to be the kid has to want it. Because if the kids don't want to do it and it's just the parents that want to do it, it's not going to work out. Your kid is not going to perform in front of strangers. They're not going to, they're not going to want to do anything. they have to be the ones that want to perform. You see it in your child if they want to perform. Let's say that's all done. You know, your child does want to perform. You're not forcing him or her to do it. What you want to do is still put them in training, because as an agent, I can see when your child is talented, right? But when I'm presenting them to the casting director, I can't, the first thing that they see is just pictures and a headshot.
Right.
So if your picture is not professional, and then your resume has nothing, it's going to be hard for them to trust that this child is talented just based on my words alone. So you really need to prepare your kid, because it's very competitive. So very, very competitive. So when a kid has training, professional headshots, and an agent, that's always going to be better than someone with just an agent but nothing on their resume, and they don't even have professional photos. Like I said, it's filtering. These kids will go forward, the ones that have their materials ready, and then they're going to move on to the producer and director sessions, because after the casting director sessions, that's where you go. You get an audition and then a callback, and then you get moved on to the producer and director sessions. Yeah, so it's always good to be prepared, be training constantly, so that you have something on your resume, and it's something that if you're resourceful as a parent, you can do on a budget. Like, say you don't have money yet for like a great acting school, put them in community theater, like put them in a visual and performing arts school, so they will have that when they're in like a regular public school, but focuses on performing arts. You can do something like that. But definitely, if you have the budget, put them in a good class. And also don't skimp on the headshots, because that's going to show the casting director that they are professional, that you are investing in their career, and they're just not a random child that they don't know where this child is in entertainment. They have to know that these kids are professional, willing to do the work, and they're investing in their career, because that is the first thing that the casting directors will see. And if you just don't have those things lined up, it's going to be a hard battle for you, like just realistically speaking.
I hear you. I totally get it. So now, can you elaborate a little bit more about these headshots? Tell them, what is a headshot? Is it the school picture that they get every year? Is that what you're considering a headshot?
Well, a headshot is the first thing that a casting director will see when we're submitting them to jobs, when agents and managers submit them to jobs. And it has to be, it's not like the school photo, because a headshot is very specific. So you have to go to a specific headshot photographer. It can't be a family photographer. It can't be a lifestyle photographer, because there's a difference. They do something different. And also with the headshots, you say in commercials, which I work a lot in commercials, there's going to be specific looks and types that you want to have as an actor. And for children, it's usually you want to give them a student look. And you're not supposed to wear anything on your hair when you're doing your headshots. Very distracting. Just natural hair. It could be done, nice. Like, don't go like all, like not even combing your hair. Nice, clean hair. No big bows. No headbands. You can do pigtails. You can wear fake glasses for your student shots. And then you also want probably a polo shirt. For your athletic shot, you want to have, you know, a jersey, anything sporty, a sporty looking outfit. Make sure they don't have brands or any licensed characters on them. They have to be bright colors, but no Nike sign or Adidas, nothing like that. You don't want to put a brand out, because if I'm going to send you to a Nike, you know, audition, you don't want to have Reebok or Adidas on your outfit. So it has to be very neutral. Another one is, what's the other one? It's always a student athletic. And then you want a theatrical headshot, which is very subdued. You want to wear lighter colors for that. You don't have to smile for that one. Your eyes have to be speaking to the camera. And oh yeah, and for the commercial headshots, you want to be smiling. There's no reason for you not to show your teeth, because when a casting director sees a photo for a commercial and there's no teeth showing, they're going to wonder, why isn't this child not smiling? Do they have something wrong with their teeth? So always show a big, big smile on your commercial headshot. And also you have to put some thought into the pictures, because that's what's going to come through in on camera. When you're just standing there and smiling, you're gonna look like you got dead eyes, basically, and you don't want that. So even when you're just taking your headshots, you gotta act inside, and that's gonna show through in the photos. Like say in your athletic headshot, you know, imagine the fierceness of being in a sport. Like you're trying to hit a home run. Like you have that spirit in you, like that you're competing, you know, your game, your team, you want to win. And so when you're acting while you're getting your pictures done, it's going to show through. And then your pictures will come alive. They will see it in their eyes, you know, like it will show through. Yeah, those are just some tips when when getting your headshots done.
That was amazing. So you're saying that we're supposed to really be acting while we're doing our headshots.
Yeah. You'll see the difference when a person is like alive and really, you know, you'll see them, you'll see the difference. It's just hard to explain, but when you see a good headshot from a bad headshot, you'll see it. There's a spirit in the good one. There's spirit in there. They're alive. They're, you know, you can see like, wow, I want to hire this person. Like they're telling you, the pictures are showing you.
I know that's right. Hold on, I'm trying to answer a question. That is so true. So one thing about in getting these headshots and finding, when you and Lisa was talking about the book, but that's a chapter in the book, finding the right headshot photographer. How would you identify a good headshot photographer from a so-so? And then let's talk about the pricing, because I've seen headshot photographers go from $200 to $1,500. Does it mean that you're good because you're $1,500 versus the $200 shot person? And if so, talk to us a little bit about how would you identify the right headshot photographer? And by the way, they're going to be coming on in the next segment. Not today, but I'm talking about, because we were wrapped up for today, but I'm talking about within the upcoming symposiums of acting schools and headshot photographers, because this is really serious. This seems like it's just a large range when you're talking to people about headshot photography. Tell us a little bit about that so the parents can understand, or even the aspiring artists,
how do I find me a good headshot photographer, and what identifies them for being good and bad?
Okay. It might be different in different markets, but here in Los Angeles, it's about that range. I haven't seen 1,500 photographers. It's usually between around 350 to 500 would be a good range. 200 might be something like a 1 look or 2 looks price, which is okay. And because it also depends on look. Sometimes when you're in the $500 range, it's $500, but you will get 3 looks or even 4 looks, which means you bring your clothes and your wardrobe, and you get 20 or 30 shots of each look from which you'll pick. So that's about, like that's a good price right there. The best way to find if they're good or not is just to look at their website. It's really the only way you can see like how good they are is through their past work. And if you see people that you recognize in their portfolio, that's probably a good indicator that they're a good headshot photographer, because they have shot actors that you recognize, like that's something that you can, that's something that you can look at. Or just by asking a successful actor that you know for recommendations, they probably will have good recommendations. Because of conflict, agents are really not allowed to tell you to go to a certain photographer.
That's okay. It's in my book.
Yeah. We're not supposed to, because it's kind of shady when you're like working, you have a photographer that you're working with. So we can give recommendations, but we certainly can't say you have to go to this one. If somebody's doing that, then you got to question them.
So in my research, I understand that in California, now California and New York are 2 different beasts, but in California, the child photographers have a permit to shoot for.
Yes, it's called the Child Performer Services Permit, CPS permit. It's basically a permit for all people in any industry that works with children. So it's kind of like I think they get a background check so that they can pass the CPS and receive a permit. So agents don't need that because it's already part of our license that we get background checked. So we don't need a CPS permit. Our license is basically our permit. But if you're not an agent, say you're a photographer or another person in the industry that works with children, like a school, what do you call that? A teacher, an acting teacher. You should get an acting coach that works with children. You should get a CPS permit.
Okay. So that's so the acting coach needs a CPS permit. Yes. The headshot photographer needs one. Yeah. And the talent managers are already included on the opposite.
Talent managers also need a CPS permit because talent managers are not licensed. Only talent agents get licensed. Managers don't need a license to be a manager. So they can just manage talent.
So tell me this, when a person is stepping out for the first time and they're looking for talent, or they're looking to find the right person, when a parent is looking and trying to figure out where can we go or what do we do you recommend them going in the non-union, since Consuela then got us in there, the non-union way of going to find them, find auditions, or do you recommend them to seek out a talent agent?
Okay, so when you're just starting out your career, everyone starts out non-union because you don't get to join the union with no prior work. So everyone is non-union anyway, to begin with. Everyone's non-union unless you already joined SAG. So the union in Canada is ACTRA, but here in the United States, it's SAG-AFTRA, which is the Screen Actors Guild and the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. They used to be separate unions, but they combined way back in 2014, I want to say. So now it's SAG-AFTRA. To become a member of SAG-AFTRA, you have to work in, you have to either do background work for 3 union jobs, or you have to, you work on a union job and get a speaking role. Only one speaking role makes you eligible for the union, or 3 non-speaking background roles. But it sounds easy, but it's not that easy, because for one, union TV shows and movies will only hire union actors to begin with. So, it's really hard to break in. You have to be very, very talented for them to hire a non-union like you, and not go with a union actor. So it's a challenge. So everyone starts out non-union, and you got to work, you got to train, you got to do all the non-union work that you can get until you have a reel. And then you can start auditioning for union jobs and maybe get a speaking role. Then that makes you eligible to join the union.
So do you
have to be Taft-Hart. It's called a Taft-Hartley. You get Taft-Hartley into the role, and you will be submitted to the union, and you'll receive a letter from SAG-AFTRA saying you were Taft-Hartley, and now you can join. They'll give you an invitation letter.
I lost my thought. I was getting ready to say something. It was a good one too. So, I know what it is, because I do this often. Say, for instance, there's a show or there's a movie or something that you see that they're casting for, and you're non-union. Do you not go after it just because you're non-union? They ask for union, or do you show up and arrive anyway with great anticipation that they might call on you?
If you are, for a television show and a movie, it's easier not easier, but it's okay for non-union actors to try. Because you never know. If you're good and you have the right look, you have the special ability that they're looking for, they will Taft-Hartley you and hire you. So my husband is a production manager and sometimes producer for commercials. And so in the commercial world, this is harder because commercials work really, really fast. Like they put the breakdowns out today, they want the auditions tomorrow kind of thing. So they don't have time to do the paperwork to Taft-Hartley anyone. So if it's a SAG commercial, I only submit SAG actors to SAG commercials, because they just don't have time. It's fast. It moves pretty fast. But TV shows and movies, and you're non-union, go ahead. If you're good, don't waste anybody's time. But if you're good and you think you can, you have it, and you can try.
Go for the gusto, because there is always a sign-up list for that non-actor. Just in case somebody don't show up, they'll slide in that non-union. Before you know it, voila, you are in the show. That's why I always say, nothing beats a failure but a try. Thank you so much, Ms. Marilee. You have given us so many good nuggets and tools for parents to really start to get their children on the way. So I'm going to ask you one more question, and that is, what will be your sum up to talking with, what is it? What's your takeaway to tell the parents that they should do to help their child become a great actor? Okay, so let's start with, your child already wants to do it. You see the child, he's always in front of the mirror, reenacting, like they really want to be on TV or the movies. You're already there.
So what you do is put your child in, community theater, acting classes. That's how you know that they really want to do it, because it's grueling work. They gotta memorize lines, they gotta act, like it's not easy. But if your child likes it, it's gonna be like play to them and they're going to enjoy it. So what you do is you sign up first on, if you're in a state that requires a child, oh my gosh, entertainment work permit for minors. So get that first. In California, we need that. So it's free. It lasts for 6 months and you just renew it before it expires. So once your child has an entertainment work permit for minors, you sign up on casting sites, legitimate casting sites like Backstage. Backstage is good to find those beginner work. Actors Access, Casting Frontier, and Casting Networks. They'll email you, sign up for the emails, they'll email you. And if, all the breakdowns, you'll receive them by email. And if it fits your child, go ahead and apply. If they like your look, you'll get an email for an audition request or a media request. An audition request is basically, they'll tell you, show up for this audition at this time. It could be live or it could in person, or it could be online. A media request is they will give you instructions to self-tape yourself and then submit that. So you do those things, either audition or self-tape. When they like you, they either hire you or there's another level called a callback. And then when you attend the callback and they like you again, you'll end up either hired or again, a third thing, which is producer or director session. And usually by that time, when you pass that, you'll know if you're booked or not. So you just keep doing these things for the parents. Don't feel bad. Just when you audition, it's kind of like set it and forget it. Don't be like, what happened? What's going on? How come they, don't do that. Just enjoy the process. Because out of 100 auditions, you'll probably land 2 or 3. And that's okay. It doesn't mean your child is not talented. It just means they weren't the look or, or the age or whatever that they're looking for. It doesn't mean your child is not talented. And also it's, look at it like a long haul process. You're not going to be an overnight success. It takes hundreds of auditions, and each audition is like a training. See it as a training. So you get better and better and better. And then once your child has enough on their resume, they've landed enough jobs by your self submissions, you can start looking for an agent or a manager.
Awesome. So self submissions and one thing I wanted to tell you, I truly believe that, as we started to learn, and once the children started to learn, and once us aspiring artists started to learn, we realized that people are looking for a look and an age, which is the whole purpose of auditioning. Even though we're saying the same thing, but they're looking for some kind of authenticity within that person if they're saying a script. I had one student to make it on she was auditioning for Annie, and she had 5 callbacks.
Nice.
She was set for Annie. By the time she got through the summer, her growth spurt went from here to here. Then they offered her Pepper. She was so upset she didn't do any of it. So, right now she's a great singer, but my goodness, she had that opportunity. She was so excited. She really wanted to be Annie. She had a phenomenal voice, but, this is where it is about the look and the age.
Yes.
In order for them to do that. So yes, that's great. Thank you so much, Miralee. You have been a wealth of information.
You're welcome.
Woo, 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 woo. All right. Thank you. And without further ado, we're going to cut this segment. And thank you again for joining us. Come back in 2 minutes and we'll be ready to start round 5. Round 5. Round 5. All right, guys. Well, this is a long day. Next week we're doing 3. You guys did good.
Go, Barbara. This is
In there
great.
with y'all. I'm like, oh Lord. Oh, next time I'm gonna do 3 of y'all at a time because I'm like, oh geez. And believe it or not, guess what? This is what you don't know. After I'm done with you all, only 1 hour.
Artificially speeded up, called Pitocin, a synthetic form of oxygen.
Can you excuse me? They've just called me to be on the news tonight. I've been trying to get on that show forever. I was like, oh my God, tonight out all night. She was like, when do you need to come? I said, when do you need me to come? It was like, oh, tonight. I was like, oh, get out of here. So I'm very humbled to be with you guys for real. I really appreciate it. And I'm gonna remember about me and my character while I'm standing up there. Because I'm listening to, I didn't even think about all the personality that really pops through a headshot. A headshot tells you so much. And it's just very important and very enlightening. Okay. So we want to make sure that we're able to do this. Now, Miss Tricia, are you ready?
I'm always locked and loaded.
Woo! Woo! All right.
Great job, Miralee. Oh my gosh. You dropped so many bombs, nuggets.
She did.
The brain was coming. It was just, you hit on some things and some questions that we forget to ask. And I like to call you the encyclopedia, because when we're in rooms and things like that, you catch what people's questions are and you're able to go ahead and break it down, and that you have good listening skills. So I want to commend you on that. That really is excellent.
I mean, but you named some casting agencies that I thought I knew. I didn't even know. Now, what is casting? Casting Frontiers is the new one for me. Now I know the Actors Access and Backstage. You know, they've been around a little while. Casting Networks. But Casting Frontier, is that a new one or is that just one I just didn't know about?
It's been around and it's actually owned by the same people that own Casting Networks. There's other places like Casted Talent. That's also one that casting directors use. And 800 Casting is there's not a lot of jobs in the West Coast that 800 Casting, but I see a lot of Atlanta jobs in there and Southern Carolina and Florida jobs on 800 Casting. And it's actually cheap. It's the cheapest one for actors. It's like $60 for the whole year or $50 for the whole year. And you can submit yourself. And when you have a profile with 800 Casting, you can send that profile. It's not locked into their website. You can send your entire profile with all your headshots and your resume. You can email your casting profile to people who even don't use 800 Casting. It's really well thought out. I believe an agent, I think, started that because of their frustrations with other casting sites. I think it's a talent agent that owns it, that created 800 Casting, but it's more well used in the South and in the East than West Coast.
Okay, all right. So what is used a lot in the Midwest?
I'm not sure. Probably just the usual Casting Networks and Actors Access. Those are the most common.
Okay.
But it definitely helps to use all of them because, like there's a monopoly right now with Casting Networks and Actors Access. They charge so much money because everybody uses them. But if we use other platforms, they're going to be like, they need to be competitive with their pricing or people are going to jump ship, right? That's why I like to use Casting Workbook and, and Casting Frontier. But yeah.
Casting Workbook. That's a new one too.
Casting Workbook has a lot of candidate jobs and voice acting jobs, and you don't have to be in Canada to apply for the voice.
Yeah, they have breakdowns from US too. I've seen Rose Rosen casting for stuff there, and There's also European casting in casting workbook. So it's just all over the place. And there's also theater breakdowns in casting workbook. Theater work, yeah. And commercials.
You know, I'm leaving in 80 days to Paris to do an engagement there. And I'm going to have to check out and give the children, because I'm speaking at school. So I'm going to have to give some of this information and wealth of knowledge away. So when they get a chance to come back and watch these videos, they can really take some time. This is why I'm always asking them to write things down, write it down so they can be able to share. Dania, did you want to say anything or share? Because you've been so quiet. No.
I'm sorry, were you talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I said, did you want to say anything or share?
No, I've been recording everything and taking notes at the same time and absorbing everything. Like,
oh my goodness. So it's a lot you're learning. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm grateful to be able to like fill in all of the holes. Like, I mean, I've mentioned it on Clubhouse before. I don't know if we've met before on Clubhouse, but I was doing a lot of acting and performing when I was younger, in my teens and early 20s, and had to take a step away from pursuing that to help take care of my family and the family home and everything. And so I had to like go and work actual real jobs and focus on that. And when it came to the point where I realized I didn't have to, focus on anybody else. I could just focus on me and what I wanted to do. I jumped right back into acting. So I joined Central Casting and I started doing background with them and was able to kind of get my foot in the door and get a, firsthand view of what real productions are like and, the ins and outs of what it is to be on a real production. I've worked on probably well over 200 shows now doing backgrounds in the last few years. And, every different one, different production studios, Fox and CBS and ABC and NBC, like all across the board. So getting to see behind the veil almost has been such an enriching experience. So if anybody's looking for that foot in the door, I'd highly recommend trying to get in with a Central Casting office. There's LA, New York, Georgia, and I believe New Orleans now. And it's
where I booked Brooklyn's Finest, if I'm not mistaken, in American Gangster, I think. I don't know.
Oh, I'm not sure. I believe so.
Yeah. They have a lot. They're quick.
Mm-hmm.
They're quick.
Yeah, they're really quick. When I signed up back in 2019, end of January, I got my first job within the first week of signing up. And, the day that I left the office, I was already getting availability texts. So it was super quick, and it was a wonderful, wonderful way to get my foot in the door and gain all of those little experiences that I had missed out on, having to step away from what was going to be a path. Like I actually too wanted to go off to New York and be on Broadway when I was graduating high school. And, I graduated high school in 2007. My first year of college was in 2008. And I ended up having to drop out of college because of the recession hitting my family so hard. And it was a whole mess. Like I didn't even qualify for financial aid because everything happened so quickly. So I am just really grateful to be able to, be good, just listen in and participate in rooms in Clubhouse and to be able to network and meet people who've been in the industry while I've been away and be able to like listen to all of the experience and knowledge that everyone else, especially the panel that we've had here today. I mean, it's a wonderful thing for me personally. So that's just what I would love to say. So thank you very much for offering all of this. And
thank you.
Yeah, just thank you, everyone.
I do have a question about Central Casting, Danya.
Yes.
Okay, so I know that Central usually they provide BG to union TV shows.
Mhm.
And union TV shows, they have to give 50 union vouchers every shoot day, but they
Okay.
usually give it to kids. They usually give those vouchers to child extras. So I want to know, for you as an adult, how many times in the 200 jobs that you've done with Central Casting, how many times have you received a union voucher?
I have actually received 4 now. So I am SAG eligible, and it took me actually not that long. It was because counting in the pandemic when everything got shut down and nobody was working for like 8 months in 2020. I had gotten my first 2 vouchers in a row for working on All Rise. And they had actually called me back in because I was a featured background and they needed me to match a scene. And they asked me to work on my birthday and asked me to rearrange plans to work on my birthday. And in exchange for that, they offered me a couple of union vouchers to work those 2 days. So I was extremely grateful for that. And that, really excited me and it kept me going, especially when the pandemic hit and everybody, had to stop productions. And it felt like, oh my God, I just got my career started again. And now I'm having to take this massive pause, which, I ended up being able to turn into a good thing, taking care of myself, mental health, dealing with the global trauma and then also personal traumas and stuff that were happening that year. But when things got back to production in the end of 2020, my 3rd union voucher was given to me at the beginning of 2021. So it actually didn't take me that long in the grand scheme of things, because I have spoken with background actors who've been with Central Casting for 5, 10, 20 plus years. And it took them so long to get the union vouchers. And so for me, when I started talking with people and I found out that there is a quota of how many SAG vouchers are brought to each production. If there are people who are SAG who, for some reason, can't make it to the production that day, then there are going to be union vouchers that are just sitting there, not going to be claimed. So sometimes what the production will do, like the PAs will take the union vouchers and they will offer them to some of the non-union people who are there on set. So that's actually how I ended up getting my 4th one. Because the 3rd one, for some reason, the production that I was on, they just kind of gave everybody union vouchers that day. And I'm guessing it was because they were a union production and that's all that they could get. So yeah, it was kind of just putting myself in the right place at the right time and like paying attention to what's going on, and also like being friendly and kind to the PAs and the ADs, like being kind to the crew, like not just being nice, because a lot of people can tell when you're just being nice. Like you have to be kind. Like that's the culture that I try to foster whenever I go onto a set. Like I try to be kind to everyone, from the crafty people to the security people to the directors and the ADs and everyone. That's honestly the way that I think I was able to get the first couple of vouchers, because when I was able to work on set with All Rise, I was just so friendly. I was excited to be there. That was one of my first major jobs, and I try to hold on to that energy every time I'm on a set, every single time I'm on a set, so that it encourages other people who are non-union, who are, not getting those union vouchers. It encourages them to just keep trying and to just keep being kind and keep doing the work. It's honestly, I don't think it's that hard, but for some people, it's more difficult for them to be on a set and just be kind because they see it as a job. They only see it as a job. So it is a job, but if you don't enjoy it, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't enjoy it. So. And I'm going to stop ranting now. Thank you.
That was good. I'm just listening. I'm like, oh, okay. That's some good nuggets, and there's a lot of good information because, you know, it shows your journey and where you are and how you started and where you are at this time, you know, and now you're ready. You've already done the launch pad. You did you did the groundwork, and now you're in your launch pad to soar. So,
Absolutely.
you've done a fantastic job, and we applaud you. And thanks for sharing. We appreciate that.
Thank you for letting me speak on my little soapbox for a minute there. I appreciate it.
It's okay. Thank you. All right. So we're going to go right into it because, as you know, I got to hurry up and get out of here. So I am going to, you ready? Are you still awake? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming back to Protools For Actors. This is where you get the tools you need to be able to launch your career and win your audition. We are back with one more champion. What, Breakfast with Champions? This is Actors with Champions. We are with the lady, Miss Clubhouse, always moving and grooving and have a passion to be able to bring it back to you. Miss Trisha Correa.
Thank you so much, ladies, gentlemen, everybody who's on. First, Babs, I just want to say thank you for your kindness, for your invitation, and that I'm surrounded with a group of pros that not only are great, excellent at what they do, they're relational, they're friends, you can ask them questions, and they give you sound and good advice. I like that because they are the rose, and sometimes they have a thorn, and when they show the thorn, there's a good reason to do it because they're saying, don't get taken in, be very careful in this industry, this and that can take place. So I just really want to give a shout out to you for doing this. And I know you love diversity, which is part of my heart as well in Hollywood, arts and entertainment and business. So it's a pleasure to be here and to share the stage with these wonderful, wonderful individuals. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all. You have no idea. You know, we hear it so much from the kids, and we know that they don't always have the financial means to be able to do something like this. And for you all to be able to open your doors and open your hearts and take your time, because this is ours, you know, to be able to come in here and say, listen, we're going to give back and we're going to give them what they need so they can be successful is everything. So, you know, when we go, and I'm going to make sure they sit down because I'm going to have 60 of them on one end and 170 on the other, so they can be able to hear what we are doing, and so they can start to get busy and make a difference in society. So thank you again.
You're welcome.
All right. So now, Miss Trisha, tell us a little bit about yourself. You have done so much. Well, I was looking at you started from being an actor and moving all the way up the ranks to where you are now. So please tell us about Relevant. Let's go. I'm listening.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm the type of person to begin with. I look at whatever I want to do and I reverse engineer. And how I mean that is, in order to know where you're going, you have to understand where you've been. And so for me, I have that kind of philosophy. I can be very analytical and I'm creative. I'm all like, we're talking about quantum theory. And then I go, look at the pretty butterfly. And, you know, I just have that about me where wherever I am, when I need to be logical, I can do that, but then I can be extremely creative. And that's a God-given gift. It just is something I've always had from being a small child to present day. So to answer your question, I started off, I wanted to be an actress, and everybody used to say, have you ever thought of going into acting? Because I was a clown. I was just always performing and enjoying it and being goofy and then being serious. And so I needed an outlet. So about when I was around 16, I started soliciting agents, and I said, hey, I want to get into acting. What do I need to do? And it's a funny story because some said, you're too tall, you're too short, you're too thin, you're too fat, you're too ethnic, you look too American. You know, I was getting all these different types of things. So I said, you know what, let me figure out what I am. And so I kind of pigeonholed myself and I said, well, this is my look, this is my feel, and I'm going to go after agents who understand that. I booked my first agent, and then they just started taking me, out on work, literally taking me. And so the first job I went on, I landed it. And then I started thinking, oh my gosh, this is so easy. But then I didn't land another job for about 20 more auditions. And then I landed a series. Then I did commercial work. Like I was going to be on a series called Jeremiah's Flats, and then they canceled it. And I was one of the leads in it. Then I started doing commercial work. And so in theater. So I kept learning my skill. And then all of a sudden I started meeting people on sets, and I liked what they did. And some people started mentoring me, and they said, well, have you ever thought of being a first AD or a PA or a producer? And I said, yeah. And they go, well, why don't you start off as a PA? And so as a PA, I was all over the set. I was a PA on Big Brother, which is still running over on CBS. And I was handling the talent. And then I started working with the producers, and they started saying, do you want to, be a producer? So I'm saying all this to say was, I ate it all. I started because it made me more well-rounded. I understood what acting was. Then I became a production assistant. I understood what that was. Then I went and I became a first AD, understood what that was. And then I went into producing, where I am now. And I have my own company, my own LLC, which is called Relevant Entertainment Studios. My website is currently under construction, and it should be up in September. So if you want to check it out, it's, relevantentertainmentstudios.com. And you can contact me there. I have offices in Beverly Hills, and I have offices in San Diego. So I'm very diversified. And now where I'm sitting is on the producing side of the house. I have several projects in development. I'm working with other people. I'm also with another person who started their production company, and I'm an executive producer there. So I'm kind of the person where I like learning something, putting it in my tool belt, and then going on to the next thing, putting it in my tool belt. And I'm saying all this to say because it makes me well-rounded. So when I have projects, I can hire in Mira Lee, I can hire in a Consuelo, I can hire in yourself, and bring in people from, all different areas within the industry. So if I don't have the answers, I go to the people who do. And that's pretty much who I am. And when I started my studio, I was scared. I'm going to be really honest with you. I didn't know how to go about it. My mentors were like, you need to start your own business. I mean, this is the honest to goodness truth. In about a month's time, I must have had half a dozen people go, why don't you start a business? And I was all like, no, I had the luxury of being under a production company or someone else. And so I would get jobs that way. And then they started saying, well, have you ever thought as a woman, a businesswoman, why don't you try to do this? And I was so scared, and I make mistakes like everybody else, but that's okay. I learn, but I ask a lot of questions. I network with people, and based on that, I make my decisions. So, 20 years from now, I can give out more advice because I can go, don't do this, but do this. And then on top of that, the industry is constantly evolving. So really understand it, whether you're an actor, a writer, a producer, a director. I direct, I write, I do all these things. So when I'm on set, I'm very professional. I'm first in, last to leave. I go to the different people on the set and just get to know them. And I love what everybody's been saying today. It's relational. It's about being a decent person. It's about respecting them. It's about honoring them, even when they don't do that to you. Even when people are rude, I kill them with kindness. And because I never know who I'm going to work with next. And I'm just real quick here. Sherry Lansing started off as an EA, executive assistant, at Paramount. She ended up being the president of Paramount. So that just shows you today. And one of our speakers was talking about that, Miss Powers. You may start off as this, but you will end out as that. And so People ask me to publicly speak. People ask me to sit on their boards. It's only because of my experience. And it's only because I make myself available to the student film. I work on those and I help people, or the executive over at 20th Century Fox. I mean, I'm open to everyone and everything. I'm of no reputation. I'm a down-to-earth person. If I can help you out, I certainly will. I never claim to be something I'm not, but I think, once again, look how, if I could do it, anybody can do it. That's how I'm going to always put it. So if you don't know about acting, call SAG-AFTRA. They can answer your questions, whether you're in the union or not, or a member. Call them, ask them. Call a casting director. You know, the worst question not asked is the one that never was. And that's my philosophy. And if somebody doesn't want to work with me, that's okay too. You develop a thick skin. I just don't take it personally. Do I sometimes hurt or bleed or cry or want to pull my hair out? Absolutely. But I'm a pro and I hold people accountable, and my word is my bond. So I think today, if I can give you anything, it's that. Be professional. If you don't know how to be professional, then go intern somewhere. Go ask somebody, can I work for free? You know, feed me, give me a cup of coffee, do something, but learn the business and learn it well, because if you do, you eventually will get to places you never thought, you never dreamed. And that's what I'm doing now. And I feel like a kid in a candy store. So I like candy, and I'm going to try all the different flavors. And once again, that's where I am. And I have a long journey ahead of me, because once again, once you have a business, oh my God, I'm learning about, I got to have permits. I went ahead and started my business in Delaware because I learned through lawyers and through CPAs, it's better tax-wise. But my business is located in California, so I have to have everything set up in California, in Delaware. There were all these things I was learning. So when I have a project, I get the best bang for my buck, but I had to ask the questions for it. And it just makes me more well-rounded. And then, so if you ask me that question, I don't want you to make a mistake. I can give you the knowledge base for it. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. And I just hope that really gives you an idea of, yeah, I started off as an actor, still act, still do voiceover. I'll do PA work. When time permits. It's the PAs, my gosh, they're some of the coolest people on the planet. The directors, but when I'm with these people, they know I know my business. And I can work on non-union and union. In the non-union, I can at least give you my experience and my advice. Now, what you do with it is up to you, but I'm all about, I'm here to help everyone. And my gift today is of my time. So if you want to get a hold of me, you can reach me at Trisha@relevantentertainmentstudios.com or info@relevantentertainmentstudios.com. And I'll try to get a hold of you within 24 hours. I'm very busy, but never busy enough to not at least reach out to you. So that's my experience of where I was, because I'm taking all the questions you asked and I packed them in a nugget. I hope you see that.
I see. I was like, well,
I'm all boom, 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 boom. I'm all about bullets, but once again,
that's awesome.
I want to help everybody, whether you're, you believe in God, don't believe in God, you're gay, you're straight, you're binary, you're black, white, green, you're indigenous, you're blue. I'm all about, I was afforded such opportunity and I want to give that back. That is my heart. That's my person. Do I fall short? Absolutely. But it's all about being a decent, loving, caring, generous, giving person. That will take you very far in this business. It's a small business. And let me tell you something. If you do something really harebrained or wrong, it'll get around the town. Trust me. And they will either want to work with you or not. So that's pretty much who I am. And that's kind of it. So if you have any,
that was amazing.
I don't mean to talk so fast or anything, but I want to honor everybody's time. We've been here for a while and I'm still learning. I have a lot to learn. And I'm all like, if somebody, honestly, if somebody said, hey, Trisha, would you just be on set with me? Or can you be my soundboard? For the people I really care about, I do it for free, but I also bring my fair market value of who I am and how much it costs. But I'm all about, I'll give you the shot, but be a pro about it.
That's it.
And that's
Shoot
pretty
your
much
shot.
it.
I'm learning so much from you guys. That's so amazing. And it was such a Trisha, you bring a whole different roundabout way of things, which is why I was so excited to be able to have different people in different brackets so people can really understand this whole rounded thing and understanding the business. And thank you so much for being able to answer all my questions in one bout. That was amazing. Now, tell me this, what is your takeaway for us? What will be your takeaway? Because we've learned so much from you, Till. We know that we need to sit down and really appreciate. And the only thing I keep hearing in the back of my head is Rita hollering, be nice. be nice, because in each one of those areas that you were working in, and no matter, because assistants is really always the producers, they may be assistants, but they really doing the back work and the back end, so therefore they know every aspect. You know, you may see my face, but Mer did all the work. You know, so
thank you, Mer. That was excellent. Great job. I think my takeaway, that's a wonderful question, is I'm a golden rule kind of gal. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Right. Even when you're not, when I'm not treated properly, I hold that individual accountable. And what I do is I will get in front. What I do is I praise in public and I correct in private. So I will ask to get with them privately and have a talk about what happened. I will find out if I erred on my side. However, if not, I will coach them and help them because I need to be gentle with myself and with others. And what I will do is professionally, I will say, I don't know if you realize this. What you said caused this on set or made me feel a certain way. Can you help me with that? Can you tell me why? And then I'll tweak what I need to tweak. And that way you can tweak what you need to tweak, and we'll work better together, not only today on this project, but for future projects. So I take the emotion out of it. Doesn't mean steam isn't coming out of my ears or my nose, or I don't curse under my breath. I'm going to keep it real. That happens. But there are eyes constantly watching on us. So what Ms. Powers said, what the rest of the gang here was breaking down is we are human beings, and I don't care what color you are, what group you come from, what you believe or what you don't believe. I allow a voice that is yours, but allow my voice, and let's meet somewhere in that middle place and let's make magic. Let's do something where my skill set will help you grow your business. It's not what I can get from you, it's what I can do for you. So that all being said, that's the being I am. Do I fall short? Absolutely. You'll get me on a day, no makeup, no hair. I'm grouchy. I didn't have coffee. I'm not feeling good, but I'll ask for forgiveness. But overall, I'm pretty happy-go-lucky, and I'm about seeing people succeed. So that's my takeaway today, is there were so many really wonderful gems, and I had fun. I had fun today, and I learned from each and every one of you, and I'm better for it. So that's my takeaway, honestly. And once again, I appreciate and I love each and every one of you for what you're trying to do, and most of all, for who you are.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That was amazing. That was so amazing. Thank you so much. All right. So now we're going to stop it and start it again. Mer, you still with me? You can. Okay, all right. I appreciate you. You only got 20 minutes left, Mer, and then you could go and sleep for the next 5, 6. I won't even bother you today. Okay. So Victoria, first of all, Trisha, that was you dropped so many pearls and gems. Y'all know my book is full. Y'all just I'm over here writing, and I'm taking notes too, because
They maybe, I'm always growing and learning, especially in the industry. Because it's an industry that I love so well that I have not stopped performing. I'm still performing. So y'all need me. By the way, we need board members, right, Lisa? We need board members at Arts in Connecticut. So if you ever consider my beautiful little arts company, please consider us. we would love to have you, and my kids would be so happy. So we're over here. So that makes Victoria. When you are in the roundup today, I want you to talk to us about what happens in that room. What happens in the room that you get the fidgets, you are scared to death before you walk into that door. Explain to the people what happens in the room. What makes the connection between you and Trisha and Miralee? What is it that Miralee is looking for in you that make you say, I just landed? All of these talent agents and casting directors are looking my way. Now you got about a whole arm full of agents on your arm. So we really want to know, what did you do to these people to get all of these people to want to have you as their talent? And make sure you let them know if they can have just one talent at a time, or you can have multiple agents. We're going to talk about that. Let's get into it. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm just writing a little quick note so I don't forget to hit on them in all caps.
Okay. All right. Lights on, Mer. This is your final one. Hello. We are back for the final round. Woo! This has been so good. We have learned so much. I am just so elated to have such amazing people that have come into our auspices to educate, train, empower, ignite, and put you on fire and help you to get on that stage. Whether it's film or television or theater, you name it, you'll be having your own Tony or Globe. Let's see what you're going to do. Now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have another dynamic actress. She is on stage all around the world, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself. And this is Miss Victoria Posada Krendler.
Hi guys, my name is Victoria Posada Krendler. If you just want to hear the whole little slate spiel I do every single slate. Fun fact, guys, if you're multilingual in your slates, it's good to say your name in the accent of the language you speak, or, be like, hola, soy Victoria Posada Krendler, or like whatever. It just is a quick way to let casting know, your agents know, everybody, that you can speak these other languages. But yeah, hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for this invite. Another tip is check your hidden messages on Instagram, because the invite for this was in the hidden messages, and I'm happy I checked those, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be here today. My name is Vicky, if you want to call me that. I recently graduated from Rutgers University in New Jersey with a bachelor's in theater arts. So it's a really good theater arts school. I really recommend their program. Another fun fact, not all acting programs are created equal, unfortunately, but some are really good. They were mentioned before. NYU, obviously, I'm a New Yorker, I'm biased, a whole bunch. I also got minors in music and Spanish and Japanese. So guys, include those skills in your pitches to agents, in your auditions, in any way you can. It'll make you stand out. And it just combines all your interests into one. So it's a really great way to just show who you are and have as much fun as possible with this. Remember, this is a lot of fun. You want to have fun in this. And I've only started getting agency representation this past year. So I haven't been in the game as long as everybody else, but not being in the game as long as everybody else doesn't mean you aren't good. And it doesn't mean that you can't bring something to the table. So remember that. Have the confidence of a vet even when you're newer. Because confidence really translates, not just on screen, in person, and in life. You are good enough, and you don't have to try to be anybody else or try to pretend to be a character or pretend to be super bubbly you don't have to pretend. You are enough as is. Bring who you are. And what else? I am signed with, as I was saying that, I was remembering all the changes that happened this week. I was signed with Citizen Skull earlier, which is a management company, and they're also a production company. They have their hands in a lot of different pockets. Unfortunately, earlier this week, we parted ways amicably. Guys, when you leave your managers or agents, end on a good note, and for good reason. Take a lot of time to think about it. Make the pros and cons lists, always, and maintain those good relationships. My ex-manager, she's still commenting on like my Instagram posts and things. Like, we're still good. It's just our careers are going in different directions. So it's all right. It's all good. It's all love in this industry. I currently am unrepresented as an actor, but it's only been like less than a week. So who knows where it's going to go. I'm going to start applying again later this week. This is a really good time to apply, guys, because we're in this little space between pilot season. If you don't know what that is, it's when the first episodes or the pilots of TV series come out, and they're very, very busy for everybody in production, for agents and managers. And we're also not in episodic season, and episodic is when they film the rest of the episodes. So, no time is really perfect to reach out to casting or agents or managers because we're all so busy 24/7. But there are some times of the year, like right now at the beginning of July, when there's a little less. Sometimes maybe everybody's situation is different, but you can hope they're a little less busy. So now is a good time to reach out. And before I talk about the audition room, just because I'm already on that subject of pitching to agents and managers, I know I can't share the link in the chat with you guys. You can't click on it. But if you go to my website, which is listed in my description, it's also just my name.com. It's very, very simple. If you Google me and my name, it's the first thing you're going to see. And I have a blog. I like to post a lot of acting tips. I'm also a model, so I post modeling tips as well. And I wrote down all the resources I prepared for you guys today. I put down the link to my Instagram guides. A lot of people don't know that Instagram guides even exist. And it's really cool because you can collect all of these posts on Instagram into one group, and it's like a book. And more than that, each post you can click on it and be redirected to that person's profile. So Lisa London, she's a casting director, and I was her student. We're still really good friends. And so I will collect a lot of her reels giving tips and stuff, and you'll have access to all of that. So that's the first resource. Again, it's in my blog. I also put it under the event section of my website. So today is included there too. But I also put in Up to Date Actor. That is a newer website. I love it. You can keep track of your auditions. In the audition tracker, there's an advice column. There's so much on there. And then there's calendar events for networking events with casting, talent agents, etc. There's also a list of available agencies you can apply to, available management you can apply to. Super helpful. And the first month is free with a free trial. If you wish to subscribe and continue paying for the resource, just mention my name. You'll get points to your next month. But I feel like you can, just utilize the free trial. I didn't say that. Acting's very expensive, guys. You want to save where you can. It's very, very expensive, especially here in New York. I can't speak on the other states or countries, but here in New York, it is very expensive. We are the state where we're in a housing crisis, and you pay for a box and you pay like $2,000 to live in like a 50 square foot apartment.
For real.
Yeah. So everything is expensive here. I forget who mentioned $500 headshots and them being good quality. I'm like, oh my God, if only we could have that in New York.
Oh, real.
Right? Oh my gosh. It's unfortunately really good headshot photographers in the city. Not all of them, but they're upwards of $500. I really recommend, I think it was Marilee, you said to check their website. to see their quality and everything. Check that first, 100%. And also don't forget about Facebook groups. Be careful when checking Facebook groups. But because I'm a part of a lot of actor networking Facebook groups, I was able to see a post from Rory Lewis, who's a headshot photographer, and he's coming to New York, and he's only $250. This man has shot Judi Dench, people. He's very, very good. That is a gem. I don't know how else I would have heard about that. And he only has limited spots, and he's only in New York for 3 days. So be careful when utilizing Facebook groups. If you're going to look for castings on Facebook as a new actor, always ask the big questions. Is there paperwork to sign? Is there nudity involved? If there is romance, is there an intimacy coordinator? Like, what is the pay? What is all those very important questions? So backtracking a little bit, I'm going down the list in my head. I believe my third resource, it was also talking about my blog, which again, lots of resources on there. I have a YouTube channel and I have a public playlist of videos my acting teachers have recommended to me. I'm currently studying under Joseph Perlman. He's a very good acting teacher. I've also studied under Howard Fine, also another very good acting teacher. I check out every single acting advice video by Larry Moss, who's another great, and I collected them all onto YouTube, and you want to watch those YouTube videos. And you really want to have the patience to watch those YouTube videos because I know it's the age of TikTok and like we all want everything to be 30 seconds, but unfortunately that's not the reality of the entertainment industry. You have to read books. You have to read books. It's okay if you're not a big reader. I'm not either. The most reading I do is like anime and manga, but I still will read plays like Tennessee Williams, George Orwell, etc. You still want to have some knowledge of theater and some connection to it, because that is the root of acting, even if you are on TV and film. And people forget that. So it's very good to take a theater class, even if it's only just one, Stellar Adler Studio, they're here in New York. They're amazing. Another resource I listed on my most recent blog post was that we were talking about reels earlier with Rita. And she's correct 100% in saying you don't want to pay a production company to be like, hey, I need a reel. Let me pay $1,000 so you can shoot my reel. And then there's this like intro music and stuff, and it just doesn't look authentic. However, there's some acting studios like MN Acting Studio in New York, where you can take classes. They also have coaching, but some of the classes, they'll film on professional video cameras your scenes. So it's very obvious that it isn't a book job, but people get to see what you look like on camera with a professional video camera as you're doing a scene that's been worked through. So that's something very good that you can either just keep to show to agents, to keep to show to casting, or add it to your Actors Access. Also, guys, be very careful about Actors Access, because everything you upload to Actors Access, casting can see forevermore. It doesn't matter if you deleted the video, it's still visible. So you want to be careful with that and really be conscious of what you're posting. And that applies to social media as well. And the fourth resource I want to share with you guys is the Backstage call sheet. Link to it again in my blog post, but there is a giant call sheet on Backstage. You can also just Google it. And it says, here's all like the public contact information for all the managers, all the talent agents in LA, all the managers, all the talent agencies in New York, Atlanta, etc. And that's, kind of the end point of all your research. If you're new to this, you want to check that out after, but also check talent agents and managers and research them before you apply, but also go to the talent agencies' websites. A lot of them have blogs or forums, which can give you a lot of really good, helpful advice. And I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about being in the room. Mirali, do you want me to read aloud the thing you put in the chat or no? Okay, so Mirali forgot to remind everyone what classes to start with. Audition technique class, yes. Yes, guys, Will Smith, he never acted before he did Fresh Prince, and the majority of Fresh Prince was his improving. So improv is so important. Groundlings is a very good school for improv. I've taken classes there. Everybody loves them. And also you want to take commercial acting workshops. I know of one, I haven't taken his class yet. His name is Killian. And everybody loves Killian. He's tough though, guys. Come prepared to work. Okay, he doesn't play games. Like, you got to be really ready to work. And those are some good classes to start with. Also, if you want to take some casting director workshops, I recommend one just so you can network with a casting agent, but research the casting agents beforehand. And you don't really need to do it to be a good actor. You can never take a casting director workshop and still make it as an actor. I did it because I interned at an acting showcase, which I also recommend because that's a way to perform at a showcase without having to pay. And showcases can be very expensive if you choose to do that. But I met the casting director who was hosting a workshop through that showcase. So I knew her beforehand, and I don't really feel the need to take too many. I still like to do it, and it's important to get the casting director perspective, but just know, like, there's a bunch of things that as an actor, you have the option to take or not take. So everybody's journey is different, and it's all going to depend on different things, but make sure you have a good self-tape setup at home, 100%. I have my ring light here. I have my tripod. I have my collapsible backdrop here, but I also have white walls. And make sure your clothing is contrasting your background. You don't want the floating head effect. And right now I'm using a Zoom camera.
This is good information.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a lie. That's why I put it in the resources. I promise I'm gonna stop real soon. But I'm currently using a web camera. You want to use these for Zoom auditions because it makes the quality of your video a lot better. You guys can see me very clearly right now. And this one has a light on the front, so I can tap it and I can change the lighting of my equipment, which is really great when you're on the go, when you're traveling, but you get an audition. If you're filming at night, make sure your setup is good for filming at night too, because sometimes you have a 24-hour turnaround, which means you have 24 hours to submit it. And sometimes you just can't avoid filming at night, and that's the reality. And another class that Merely recommends, sorry, my brain is going faster than my mouth can keep up, is Camera Left Stage Right in LA. And they're also casting at ASG Casting. So check those out. Definitely reach out to Merely, the fountain of information, 100%, yeah. And I'm gonna just quickly talk about what to expect in the audition room. Yeah, if casting directors can't see or hear you, they will move on to the next person, 100%. Oh, also, some more equipment for a self-tape setup. This microphone, it connects to my phone. So I can just pop it in here and get some really good sound quality on my phone. And it's portable, it's very easy to use. Obviously, as you can see, it has 360 sound amplification. So I was just using that earlier today when I was doing my audition for a Nike commercial, so fingers crossed. Thank you, guys. So what to expect in the audition room? Expect everything and anything can possibly happen. People can ignore you. Some people will just be like on their phone looking, they won't look up, they'll be like, hey, and then they'll just like, okay, cool, I can hear you, and go. Other people will look at you and like never look away and just stare into your soul. Guys, don't have caffeine before your auditions. Your nerves are already gonna give you so much adrenaline, especially me. I have no caffeine today and I'm already talking this fast. Like you don't need it. A friend of mine, his name is Hutch Dano. He's an actor. He was Zeke on Zeke and Luther, which was on Disney Channel a while ago. He was telling me how he had a big audition. He was ready. He had everything down. And then he walks in and there's Will Smith. He freaks out. This guy freaks out internally, not externally, but he's freaking out inside. And he didn't get the audition because he was just so focused on oh my God, there's Will Smith. Oh my God, there's Will Smith. Oh my God, there's Will Smith. It's just like, that can happen, guys, especially with a really big audition. I got an audition earlier this year for Fleischman is in Trouble, which, you know, I would have played Jesse Eisenberg's sister. That would have been huge. And even though I wish I got it, I feel like, you know, it was the universe at work, making sure I didn't, because if I was meant to, then I would have gotten it, you know? And even just the first round of auditions over Zoom, I was so nervous. And I feel like it may have translated, it may not have. I have no idea. I wasn't the casting director. But you want to be able to control what you can control as the actor in the room. So you can control your nerves. You can control the caffeine you take. You can control how well you know your lines. The way I memorize my lines is I write them out while I'm watching TV, so I'm purposely distracted. I like to be purposely distracted, because when you're distracted in the room by people coming and going, distractions won't affect you as much. So I'll write it out in black pen for what I don't know. And then I'll do like 3 lines, and then I'll run through those 3 lines in pencil. So it's like, okay, cool, I know it. And then I write the next 3 lines I don't know in black. And anything I forget, I write in blue. So color code how you write your lines. And make sure you know them flat, because the most important thing in the audition room is showing life. It's okay if you make like a little mistake, like you fumble on your words. I fumble on my words all the time when I talk, and it's natural and it's normal and it happens. Casting is more interested in seeing you come to life. And if you can be in the moment, if you can be moment to moment, if you're connected, if you're focused, if you can take direction, you know. I have another actor friend, she's telling me, I was so prepared for the audition, and I was auditioning for a guest star role, and it was this character. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they wanted me to read lines for a completely different character I hadn't prepared for. That can happen too. You just have to breathe, calm down, be still, remember you're good enough, and then just do it. It's just a conversation. Remember, it's all just a conversation. And forgive yourself for anything you don't get. And remember, the audition is just as big of a win as the booking. And you should approach every audition, every callback, every availability check as you would a booking, with the same professionality, with the same preparedness, etc. And that's what's going to set you apart. I'm sorry. Am I going on too long?
Callback memories. After this saying that, I was in an audition. It was, you know, I think I auditioned for The Color Purple or something, and they asked me to remain. And I said, well, they told me to stay here. I said, what does that mean? Does it mean I get it? They said, no, they gave you a callback. I said, oh, what does that mean? That means they're interested. I just started crying. I got a callback. Everybody in the room started clapping. I had no idea. Again, I should have called the book The Green Actor. You just never know, you know. So I mean, good nuggets. Keep going, Victoria. I'm truly enjoying it.
Thank you. I'm trying to keep things as short as possible. I could talk for years if I wanted to. But since you mentioned crying, actors, don't worry about crying on cue. It's okay. If you don't cry, you don't cry. Again, it's more about the moment and how believable you are. And if in that moment you cry, then great. But if in that moment you don't, it happens. Sometimes when you're asked to cry, though, you want to start thinking of the things that would make you cry before you even start the scene. Sometimes it takes actors longer to get there, which is also perfectly fine. But don't stress it too much. It's more about the life than it is about the crying. Casting, again, they're going to forgive you for so much. Casting is so nice. And casting directors who give you feedback are very rare. A lot of actors feel entitled to get feedback from casting. That's not a guarantee. And casting doesn't have time to give feedback to every single actor when they're seeing 300 actors in a day. So if a casting director is giving you feedback, that is a gem. If a talent agent is giving you feedback when you apply, that is a gem. I had an audition for representation with People's Store. I didn't get it, but the agent gave me feedback. She's like, I really think you need some scene study. First thing I did, I started scene study. First thing I did, I said, thank you, because no one is entitled to give you feedback. And when you get it, it really is a gift. It's really a kindness. So don't take it for granted ever.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Very
People, like everybody here on this panel, like everybody's so kind and they've given so many gifts. And I'm just so grateful to be here. And like, thank you, Babs, for hosting this. Like you want to be grateful and happy to be at everything. And if you're not, then you got to, I think, reassess your priorities and what you want. But again, going back to auditions, trying to stay on topic, practice Zoom auditions with your friends. I have one scheduled with my other acting friend, because on Zoom, when I can't see everybody and it's all these little black squares, it actually makes me more nervous when I can't see someone's face. So practice Zoom auditions, have a mock audition. It's just exposure therapy, guys, for the nerves, and it's just practice. And, you know, some people are super blessed and super talented and they don't need to practice as much as everybody else, but, you know, they still got to work when they get the role. You know what I mean? So no one is exempt from the hard work that goes into all this. Mm-hmm. No one's exempt from it, no matter how good you are. No one's exempt from it, no matter how talented you are. There's work to be done in every single moment. For auditions, have a lot of fun with it. Have life, and make sure you research everything. If there's something you don't know how to pronounce, it's totally fine to just send a quick email or a message and say, hey, can I please be told how to pronounce this? Or something I've discovered is that if you Google pronounce whatever the word is, there's like this one guy who's like posting everything, or it's like the Webster Dictionary. I don't know who it is, but then they like will tell you exactly how to pronounce it, which is super cool. Like I had a commercial for CeraVe, which I booked. And I'm like, I know it's CeraVe, but my friend was saying CeraVe. I'm like, no, wait, no, I must be right on this. So I just Googled it and then I showed it to her and she's like, oh, you were right. I'm like, I knew I was right. Don't gaslight me. Joking. She's amazing. And also know the historical context of whatever you're doing. If it's a period piece, even more. Learn the history. I know there's sometimes only 24 hours and you can only do as much, but do as much as you can. And, you know, have a quiet place as much as you can when you audition, when you self-tape. You're going to have to make some sacrifices. Like you're going to miss some parties. You're going to miss some events. You're going to miss some things. And that's just the price you pay for something that you love this much. And, you know, I feel like it's worth it in the end though. So don't be afraid to tell people, hey, I have an audition. Please don't call me for 24 hours. My dad calls me every day. I have to send him a text and be like, Dad, don't call. I have an audition. Because he'll call and then the phone rings and then he leaves a voicemail. And then it's like, okay, he's going to call again because I didn't answer to the voicemail. If you have parents like that, just send a little message. All right, they're doing it out loud. They call you because they love you, but let them know. Let people know. Let your roommates know. And readers, make sure your reader for your audition is good. You don't want someone who reads the lines like, David, are you okay? You don't want that. I'm sorry. Like,
girl, you funny. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm trying. I have a friend and I love her as a friend, but she's not a good reader. She's not an actor either. It was kind of like a last resort thing, but it was not good. There's an amazing resource called We Audition. It's unfortunately iPhone only, but you can access it on your computer. So the app is iPhone only, but on your computer, it's everybody. And it's called We Audition, all one word. They have an Instagram. They're super nice. And you can find readers on there who are all trained. I am a reader on We Audition. I'm happy to read for you. And I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of paying high prices for a reader, but there's some moments when it's just all your friends are busy. You have 24 hours to get it done. And then there's a reader on We Audition who's like, yeah, it's just $5 for 15 minutes. Again, acting is expensive. Be prepared for these expenses, but
invest. Invest in your future.
You can work as a reader on We Audition. So I make some extra money for my acting fund and classes and everything by working as a reader on We Audition. So you can't, it's more than just finding readers, you can be a reader. And fun fact, I've only read thrice for people. And the second time I read, one of them was my friend. He was super nice. He gave me 5 stars. And he booked the role with the casting director I'm friends with. Because I told him, you know, I really like what you're doing. You're doing what's expected though. Try and approach the role not as if you are the bad guy, but that you are the victim. So he had 2 really different contrasting takes. If you are submitting self-tapes, unless casting specifies only 1 tape, you usually can get away with sending 2. Don't send more than 2 though, because they're busy and it's too much. But 1 that is, you know, what they would expect on the page and, you know, what you would expect when you first read it, versus a second take, which would be completely different. For example, if you have a side and it's a drama, you can read it like da 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 da. Okay, I read it like a drama. Your second take, you can read it as a comedy. Don't be afraid to go with your instincts and to make a really interesting choice and to do the opposite of what the text says. That's why you have 2 takes. And casting's really interested in seeing that. Because again, they're watching 300 takes of the same scene in one day. So the things that are done differently are really going to stand out to them. And I think I covered everything. Let me check my notes really quickly.
If you missed something, we didn't get it. I'm going to have you come on all by yourself just so we can give you a little piece and then get them on here so they can get that. Because, child, you a wealth of information. That is amazing. I got some serious nuggets. I'm telling you, I think we're going to have to pull you back, Victoria. If I knew you had all that going on,
I don't sleep.
You're a powerhouse. Go on, keep going. You got a few more minutes and that's it. I'm sorry.
Do you really want me to go on? Because
well, the thing is, we got to be ending it because, as you know, I got somewhere to be at 5. But the one thing I really, first of all, you have given so many nuggets, especially for an actor who is hungry for the desire to be an excellent actor. We have to invest in our craft. There is no other way to say this. You know, you get some things for free, but then you need to use your skills and your talents so you can make money. Your gift makes room for you. It's in the Bible, but it's so true. I may not have a dime, but I know I can sing, and I surely know I can teach singing. So therefore, you take that skill and you use that skill to get wherever else you want to go. And now Victoria has given you so many great nuggets. She gave me websites I never heard of. She must have been to every acting school in the city. She didn't take New York for granted. She went in there and said, oh, that's a good one. Let me try him. And let me tell you something. When you get the varieties and the Skittles, you get a good pack. You get a good pack and you take the good and you spit out the bad. However, the bad is going to help you to think about what you need when it comes to the next one. I told you, there's no failure. Challenges are good challenges. And this is just amazing, amazing content. You're going to have to, the reason we record this, because you're going to have to come back and take this up again. This was great, guys. I mean, you know, this was one power hack, 3 hours and 30 minutes. This was great. Can I give all of you a hand? Victoria, let me give you a big hand, because this was amazing, amazing, amazing. And thank you so much. I'm in awe. I was like, I had to sit down and write down all of this stuff. And I'm sure you got a YouTube channel going on with all of this information you got. That's what I figured. Thought I seen you somewhere, but I seen you on a commercial somewhere too. I don't know. I see a couple places, right?
I've only had one commercial booking, but the stuff isn't out yet.
Oh, okay. So
I just look like another person. It's okay.
No, I've seen you somewhere. I bet you know. It's a small world in New York City when it comes to acting. It really is, because you start to see the same people, especially people of color. When we go to auditions, I know probably every motor mouth in New York City, because we're always in the same bunch. You know, how many big black girl roles they have in some things. Now that everything is sort of trending, we can now start to apply for some other stuff. Before we couldn't, because they got something called typecasting people, which, no, I'm not trying to get into stuff. I told you I gotta get out of here. So that's a whole nother ball game. We didn't talked about the industry. We've talked about the producing and the AP, and Trisha has given you so many nuggets on that side. We've talked about the children acting and talent agent and how you get the kids involved. We gave you a mom who told you about the process, so how you can get your children up and going and how to get them motivated. And we've talked about character. Don't slight on backstage on background work, because as you can see, Dania popped in there with some super nuggets and just landed on stage. You better go, Dania. And she was like, do you know what you can get? And now she can be a fortified equity person, making all the money in the city, in Hollywood, wherever she wants to go. And then we had Rita to come in and tell you need to be relevant, you need to be authentic, but you need to be real. Stop acting like we know that we have some things and something. They're looking for real people that have a passion. Please do not go and send out a digital reel and your stuff is not right. I did that. You know, I got stuff I have to take off of backstage because it was when I was young and I just didn't know any better. I was like, whoo, boy, I've been, since that time, I've gone through and done a whole bunch more stuff. So now it needs to be back. Update those backstages and all of that stuff, update it. I have to do it too. So I'm not singing to the choir. I'm telling you something. This is real irrelevant. Okay. So guys, please take the content and the information that you have just learned from all of these talented professionals, Nate included. He gave you some real, and he started off the bat with everything. He was amazing at giving you all the information, telling you to practice and telling you to get into these auditions. And it don't matter where you are, and get into Facebook groups. Well, Facebook groups, I'm in some, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm missing some or something. But get the information you need so you can be able to be successful. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, is there anything you want to, Giles, would you like to say something? Giles, are you there? I think Giles isn't there. Okay. Well, without further ado, does anyone have any last minute takeaways? Victoria, you didn't do your last minute takeaway. I did one for everyone else but you. What's your last minute takeaway?
Well, now there's so many things that I could say. Which one do I pick? Oh, okay. So this is, again, kind of specific relevant to me, but I think it is relevant to a lot of people. So I was a big kid when I was 12, and I'm still a big girl. I was 200 pounds at 12. And I'm still a plus size actor. Don't be afraid to pursue acting because of how you look. Okay, embrace it. Yes, I've been turned down for roles because I'm a bigger girl and been, replaced to someone skinnier. But, then that's just not for you. And you're going to find the people who appreciate you for how you are and want to work with you for what you are, whether it's religion, ethnicity, sexuality, gender, body type. You want to be where you're wanted and where you're accepted and where you're going to have the most fun and where you're going to feel the best about your work. So don't worry about getting everything. Worry about getting good quality stuff that adds quality to your life. So that's my spiel.
That was amazing. That was so good, because you know what? It's all about, hey, you can be what you want to be. And that you lead me right to my new B University, because I'm telling you, that's my message I am taking all over the world. You can be what you want to be. And why are you wasting time? Get busy right now. Child or adult, it's no excuse. Stop talking about, oh, I wish and I dream. Why you can't put feet to those visions? Let's make life happen, people. Stop talking about it and be about it. This has been your host, Babs Alexander, your international vocal and career coach. I want to hear from you. Leave the comments below. We are looking forward to hearing your fantastic comments. And if you would like more content like this, then you need to send a message to internationalvocalcoach.com and let us know what you would like to see here in the next symposium. Without further ado, thank you, every last one of our talents. I appreciate all of you. I'm telling you, it goes without, you may be seeing something in the mail from me because I want to say thank you. All right. I love you guys much. And Mer, cut the camera and go to bed. Thank you. Thank you. Mer. Yay!
Fantastic. Way to
I
go.
know.
Way to go, everybody.
Thank you, guys. You guys were amazing. I really appreciate y'all. And now I got to get myself together because I got to do this one more time tonight. And I still got to hire 20 people before the end of the day. That's all right. We're going to do this. Make sure y'all join my board of directors, artsinConnecticut.org, artsinct.org. Check us out. See if we're relevant enough for you. And you say, okay, I want to join it. All right. I love you guys much. Thank you so much. It's been a blessing. I'll see y'all later. Bye.
Thanks. God bless. Bye.
Okay.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.